story was whether or not Ernest Jones was going to sign an extension, and here we are now talking about a team without both of these guys, and I have not been able to ask you about it because we were gone. So before we get to what it means, before we get to what the draft looks like, before we get to the compensation or the cap scenario or anything, what was your reaction to the news? I'll start with Geno being traded.
I'll tell you exactly where I was.
Okay.
I was having a beverage and some barbecue, moonshine barbecue, my homie's restaurant. And I'm sitting there, and this person is sitting like across the bar from me. He just looks at me with wide eyes. Like, did you hear? I go, what are you talking about? I don't have my phone. I'm just sitting here watching TV. He goes, did you hear? I go, what? And I saw the trade go down, and I was shocked. It made sense at the same time, and it felt like this team is now officially going in a completely different direction, a direction I didn't think that they were going to go in, but it made sense, right? Vegas, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, get the boys back together. We assume Tyler Lockett is going to be there as well. It was interesting, but now I'm looking at this ball club, and I'm thinking, what do you do on offense? Defensively, I think you are fine. You're good to go. You're going to add some pieces. But offensively, no Geno, no DK. What is this thing going to look like?
Well, and what was interesting about the Geno thing, too, is that it seemed like the Seahawks were pretty set on Geno being the guy. I mean, we had heard Mike McDonald say at the Combine, I kind of wish a deal would get done and we could just announce it so you guys would quit asking me about it. You heard John Schneider be asked, is there any doubt Geno's the guy, and said no. Granted, it wasn't a definitive answer. He went on to, talk about focusing on the team. In the timeline, we're going to replay kind of all the cuts that we maybe should have paid closer attention to. Mike Garafolo with a little more insight into Geno's contract situation.
Go back to last year when we reported that there were conversations, or Geno Smith tried to have conversations about a contract last year, and the Seahawks said, no, not with 2 years left on your deal. He confirmed it to the media. Did not seem very happy at the time that he didn't get an extension. So coming into this offseason, feeling like he proved it again, wanted an even bigger number this time around from the Seahawks. There was a gulf between the sides from our understanding here with regard to the financials on this one.
You're right. Maybe I shouldn't be shocked, like absolutely stunned that they, traded Geno. I just didn't think it would be this offseason. And that's silly because they had a contract decision to make this offseason. So if ever there was an offseason to move on from Geno, it would be now. But this was a team that last year won 10 games. Say what you will about the Rams resting starters in the final week. They should have beaten the Giants. They should have beaten the Rams. You know what I mean? There were other close games that, could have gone the other way. This was not a contending team, but it was a competitive team that had the potential to improve to a playoff team if they were to really invest in their offensive line and rework that. I don't know that plan A was moving on from Geno and DK, but they had to be very willing to go to plan B or plan C. Otherwise, they would have paid Geno whatever he was asking for.
No, I don't think they went into negotiations with both of these guys thinking, okay, we got to find a way to get them out of here.
Yeah.
You sit down at the table and you're thinking, okay, how can we make this work? But at the end of the day, who said it? I think Schneider said it. He has to do what's best for the organization, right? And what's best for the organization in his mind was not to pay Geno. Sounds like he was asking for $45 million a year. You hear that number, you might get what do you call that? Price tag shock? What's it called?
Sticker shock. Sticker
shock, right? You might get sticker shock, but I think that's the going rate. I think that it just came down to business, money, and trying to figure out what we want this team to be, right? If you're going to play DK $30 million, you're going to play Geno Smith $45 million, you're not able to move as freely as you want to in the free agent market when it comes to getting an offensive line or whatnot. So when they sat down, I would imagine that it was respectful, that they were just having honest conversations. And at some point, you get to a point where we're not budging, you're not budging. Man, let's just do what's best for both of us. We'll get you to Vegas, Geno, get you with Pete Carroll, and DK will find a deal for you as well because we have a young receiver there. What are you going to do at quarterback, though? I put out a video this weekend. Someone laughed at me because I pulled over and didn't even take my seatbelt off. I recorded the video, and I still have my seatbelt on. It was like...
Stay safe. You're still on the side of the road?
It was a flurry. I had to pull over real quick. Like, I got to respond to this. So, yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking, but it also makes complete sense at the same time. There's a calmness I have about this situation that I wasn't really expecting.
Is this a rebuild? I put that question out on X.com. There are 361 votes. I just put it out. No, I didn't an hour ago. I'm lying. I'm trying to sound more popular. It's split down the middle quite literally. 33%, 33%, 33%. returns for all
Really?
three answers. And I shouldn't have given people an out, but I said yes, no, or I don't know yet. So people completely torn on whether it's a rebuild. And I think it's because it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, but you know that it's not in a weird way. And what I mean is John Schneider, when this team released Richard Sherman and traded Michael Bennett, told people this isn't a rebuild. We don't rebuild. That's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
When they traded away Russell Wilson and released Bobby Wagner, not a rebuild. We're still trying to win. Don't know what you guys are talking about. So it's natural to look at trading away Geno, trading away DK, and releasing Tyler Lockett, and just assume that if John Schneider were asked today, and by the way, he's going to be on with Wyman and Bob on Thursday, but if John Schneider were asked today, is it a rebuild? He'd say, no, I mean, we're always looking to improve. Like, this guy wants to win every single year, so it's hard for me to say fully that it is. What do you think's happening?
I don't think it's a rebuild just because of what's happening over there on the defensive side of the ball. A rebuild to me means that this team's going to win 3 or 4 games.
Blow it up.
And you're going to struggle. It's not going to be fun. We don't know what it's going to look like. Obviously, you're waiting to see, is Sam Darnold going to be the guy? Are you going to address the quarterback position in the draft? But because you signed some guys on the defensive side of the ball, and I feel like the defense can lead the charge, no, it's not a rebuild. It's a retool. It's a take one step back to take 2 steps forward, possibly. No, I look at the offense, and I'm a bit concerned, though. I'm not sitting here, and I said there's a calmness about me, but there's this, it's a calmness, but with a little bit of urgency. Like, I go back and forth because you realize you don't win football games if you don't have a quarterback. You realize you don't win football games if you don't have an offensive line. They are fixing things on the offensive side. Because I'm looking at the defense, I'm looking at Leo. You just signed Ernest. That news got buried this weekend. You got Spoon over there. No, it's not a rebuild, but they're fixing some things in the house.
Yeah, I think your point about the defense is a really good one, especially since there was a report from the weekend that the Seahawks initially, who knows if it's true, that the Seahawks initially tried offering both Geno and DK to the Raiders for Max Crosby, which, as Curtis pointed out, is such a fantasy football trade of epic proportions. It's just absolutely
if that went
amazing.
through, that
Can
would
you
be the
imagine?
most
It
insane
would
trade.
feel like GMs playing fantasy football. But that was just one report. We don't know that that's true. Assuming that they were still trying to very aggressively improve the defense, though, you're right. That's not a rebuild. This is a team that said, we have problems on offense, and we don't think we can patch them.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have big problems on defense, so why tear it down? And if they knew that they would eventually have to find a younger answer at quarterback, and that there was no point in paying a receiver that much money if they were still reworking other things, might as well rip the Band-Aid off.
You got a 34-year-old quarterback who people see as a bridge. I think that's what he is at this point of his career because he hasn't had the long, sustained success that we see a lot of these quarterbacks have. And you're looking at what's available. Let's talk these quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. But you're eyeing Sam Darnold. At least I think they should be eyeing Sam Darnold. I think that, and then I'm also hearing that the Hawks offered him around 40 to 45 million, Geno Smith, but he it felt like he just wanted to get out. So there's something that went down during that conversation to where Geno felt as if he's just better off starting somewhere else, and the Hawks are feeling the same way. All right, let's just start somewhere else. It's refreshing. It's refreshing. Geno is or was great for this organization. Despite how you feel about him, you can point out his interceptions in the red zone, all that stuff. The Texans are already blowing up with that. Let's not deny the facts about that, but we also can't deny the facts too that he kept this team relevant. You have to get this right now. You have to get this right because we're talking about this defense, and because of the talent they have over there, we don't think it's a rebuild. All right. Don't waste the time. Don't waste that defense's time. Don't waste Leo. Don't waste Spoon. Don't waste Reed. J Love. They're established over there. I'm looking at John now, and I'm thinking, all right, what's your next move? How are you going to make this right? This might be a defining moment for John Schneider as a GM for the Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, what if he thinks that, look, there are organizations that can go decades without finding an answer at quarterback, and God forbid, but maybe that's the path the Seahawks end up on. However, maybe he thinks that there is a quicker path to find success through having a really solid run game. You just saw the Philadelphia Eagles win with a quarterback who I don't know that anyone has Hurts in their top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and yet he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback because that team was so stacked everywhere else. Maybe Schneider feels like quarterback might be the hardest problem to solve, but I think I can figure out the running back room. I think I can figure out the offensive line.
No, there's a way to do this. There's a way to do this without having that superstar quarterback. We've seen that. We're going to look at Philly. They won the Super Bowl, obviously. That is tough to do. But I think that because of the supporting pieces that are already here, because of JSN, because of K9, because of Zach Charbonnet, because of your tackles, I think they're looking at that quarterback position and saying, all right, there's two ways we can go. We can go young in this draft, or we can go out there and get ourselves a quarterback that is established. Is Sam Darnold established? That's the toughest one. Hey, and get off my boy. I've been talking about Sam Darnold for a year now, okay? Talking about him for a year. Is he the answer? This next move is going to be big. This is going to define the next 3 or 4 years for this organization. You have to find yourself a quarterback. Which direction are they going to go? Do you get a veteran in Sam Darnold or someone like that and then still go to the draft and address the position? We shall see, but there's a way to build a football team and to have success around the football team and not be paying your quarterback $50 million a year.
No, exactly. And you'll be paying Sam. Sam, unfortunately, probably did hurt his market with his last couple games of the season. I wouldn't imagine he's going to be commanding what Geno might be able to get with the Raiders. That being said, you're still going to be paying a veteran. Brock compared it this morning to something that could be like the Alex Smith situation where, you're paying for a guy on a contract with outs every single season, which is how they had the last contract with Geno structured. And I really like that idea because it allows you to eventually move on to your guy without as much consequence. The problem, not problem, but to me what was most interesting is I have never covered a Seahawks team that went out and drafted the next quarterback. Russell Wilson was drafted before I was a reporter. But I'm very curious to see what they do. This class is what gives me pause. If this was last year's class, I'd be like, oh, you can group some of these picks together and trade up, and who are you going to take? But I feel like every single person we've talked about when it comes to a draft preview have said, yeah, there's Cam Ward, and then there's kind of everyone else. And so I think they're going to have to take a quarterback. In fact, I think they're going to take one higher than we expect. Do I have faith in that guy? Do I think that guy's the answer? I don't feel as confident about this class.
No, because there's two guys, and even with Shedeur Sanders, right, everyone has their flaws, and you can easily pick these guys apart, right? I understand that. But if this were last year, I think you and I feel a lot better with that number 18 pick trying to grab yourself a quarterback. We saw how many guys went last year in the first round. No, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be tough, man. It's the thing about Sam Darnold is that you've only seen it for 1 year, right? Do you trust that 1 year?
No.
Does Kubiak look at Sam Darnold and say, he can run my type of offense, right? It's part of the Shanahan tree, the Kubiak tree.
Yes.
It's all related. I think that is what keeps me optimistic about if he were to get Sam Darnold is that he has shown that he can run this offense. But what did he have over there with Minnesota? He had Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
He had Addison.
Yep.
He had a good run game over there. O'Connell is a guru when it comes to this offensive stuff. He still needs to be supported in the same ways that Geno needed to be supported. All right, you're going to pay, if you do look at Sam Darnold, you're going to pay him about $45 million, about exactly what Geno was asking. 1 year, do you believe in it? I think at this point, you have to believe in it. You have no other options. Are you going to bring over, well, we just heard Aaron Rodgers, right, making moves with the Steelers. Are you going to try to acquire Kirk Cousins? We're not going to run it back with Russell Wilson, I don't think. Justin Fields, I mean, I guess that's an avenue as well. But if you had to pick between Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, who are you going with?
Sam
Darnold, off of 1 year. That's just the situation you're in, right? It's and I understand people can get a little frustrated, say, well, you've only seen it for a year. Doesn't matter. This is the situation you are in. You have to get a quarterback. You're not going to sit back and let Sam Howell take over the reins. That would be interesting if they did that. I don't think they're going to do that.
Get two Sams back there.
But this is just the situation you're in, man. And things happen so quickly when it comes to these negotiations. Geno gone, DK gone. Now you're looking at the quarterback position, and you're scratching your head and wondering how aggressive they're going to be, or are they going to be patient with the young guy?
That is exactly what we're talking about at 10:30. We're going to look at, all right, so who needs to be the next Seahawks starting quarterback? What are names that we've had linked to them? What are names we can take off the board? Coming up at 10:45, we're going to revisit the Seahawks draft situation. They have a lot to work with, so we're going to look at what those picks are. At 11, we're going to have ESPN's Dan Graziano, and I will let you guys know something. We already taped with Dan. And I'm telling you that so that you know there is something he says about the Geno negotiations behind the scenes that I felt was especially interesting. So that's coming up at 11. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, reports out of Pittsburgh say the Steelers are zeroing in on signing Aaron Rodgers. What's the real headline?
Pierogies are a great hangover food when you're coming down from ayahuasca, so I think this is a great fit for
Soak
Aaron.
up all that.
Do you think, yeah.
All those
Soak
drugs.
it up. Soak up all the drugs. What do you think Aaron's got left in him, Bump?
I think he can still play some ball. I mean, you look at his numbers last year, they weren't great, but they weren't horrible either. It's the other things that you're worried about when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, but I also think that Mike Tomlin is the type of leader that Aaron needs at this point of his career, right? A guy who's no nonsense, who has an established culture. Like Aaron Rodgers is joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's not going over there to control anything. And I'm hoping that maybe his time with the New York Jets has humbled him a little bit. And there's no way you're looking at a guy like Mike Tomlin and making any type of demands. That's not how it works in Pittsburgh.
I'd love to see him try, though.
Yeah, right. Good luck, Aaron. Good luck, Aaron Rodgers.
I'd love to see him try.
But listen, but now he does have two receivers. You got DK Metcalf over there. You have Pickens as well. You got to get your run game going. Najee Harris went for 1,000 yards. I'm not sure if he's a free agent or not, but there's good bones over there. Mm-hmm. But you're playing in a tough division. You're playing in a tough conference. It's going to be interesting. I think he has some good football left in him. I think he can make these guys playoff contenders, but we're not talking Super Bowl.
A question that I do want to stick on when it comes to the Steelers, it was one that Curtis raised in the Sports Pit earlier when we were talking about the profile of Pickens as a receiver, the profile of DK, and how similar they are, and then wondering if, the Steelers might try to move on from one. If you're the Steelers, how are you looking at both these weapons? Are you just like, thank God they're both here, or are you now thinking you have some wiggle room?
No, I think you need both of those guys. I think George Pickens has had himself a decent career so far. Hasn't really had much help over there. They'll play off each other, man. But just like we were talking about JSN last week, how he helps DK, DK helps him. I think that's going to be the same situation over there. Two good receivers. Got yourself an old quarterback coming in. Toss it up and see what they can do.
Headline rewrites.
Headline two, the Seahawks got a deal done with Ernest Jones before the start of free agency. He's signing a 3-year deal worth up to $33 million. What's the real headline?
Whoever thought an Ernest Jones extension would be the boring Seahawks story? Like, I felt like I was going through the weekend and I saw that update and went, okay, what else? And I'm scrolling through, looking back at the cap and the draft picks now.
Yeah, because we felt this was going to get done. It was just a matter of time. What we weren't expecting, at least I wasn't, going off of what Schneider had said and what Mike McDonald said, we thought Geno was going to be here. So this is just a very mature move right here. You lock down your inside linebacker, $33 million. Good move. We knew this was going to happen. So we saw it and we kind of glossed over it, but let's not act like this isn't a big move. I know that DK and Geno's gone, but Ernest Jones changed that defense as soon as he got the green dot, so I'm happy they got this done.
How good do you think the defense could be in 2025? Do you think there is a ceiling that is a top 5 defense?
Top 5. I'll give
Or
them
is that
top 10.
aggressive?
I give them top 10 right now.
Okay.
They could be a top 10 defense. I think they finished middle of the pack last year.
Which was a massive step forward.
Yeah, and because the way they started, it was crazy. Actually, they started hot 3 games and then kind of fell off a little bit. But no, I think they can be a top 10 defense, man. There's going to be some growth over there. Reek is going to bounce back and have a good year, I believe. Spoon's going to continue to do his thing. Jay Love is back there. You look at every level of that defense, they have guys ready to go. And then you just sign what? Jay Reed. We're going to talk about that next for 3 years.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Seahawks are also signing Jaron Reed to a 3-year extension. This one worth up to $25 million. What's the real headline?
Seattle was quite literally taking care of business and working overtime.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you. I'm stuck in my head now.
Another mature move right here.
Yeah.
You lock down Jay Reed. We've heard great things about his leadership in the locker room. Again, every level. You got that D-line, you got Jay Reed, you got Leo. Second level, you got Ernest. Keep the band together, man. I think this was a good move. It was important. And another one that kind of got pushed to the side with all this news going down. But again, let's not underestimate how important these two signings are. You have a leader on that second level, a leader on the first level with Leo. Great move by the Seahawks.
Let's get to some listener reaction bump in the last 2.5 minutes because we have been getting a ton of texts on the Mac and Jack's text line with obviously reaction to this news. When we mentioned Sam Darnold, one listener said, there's zero way I'd pay another 500 quarterback. My immediate reaction to this was, look, you need someone. There is a danger in handing the reins to a rookie who is going to be playing behind an offensive line that's going to have some moving pieces, a wide receiver room that still needs some answers and is going to be really young. You probably do still want a bridge quarterback, and if you're John Schneider, you want a bridge quarterback that can at least win you some games.
Name of the game, win ball games. But here's the thing is, whoever they bring in here, they're going to have pressure on them, but not the pressure that a Ryan Grubb offense will put on a quarterback, right? Geno dropping back there with that offensive line that struggled and being asked to toss the ball 20, 25 yards down the field constantly was rough, man. Kubiak's going to establish this run. And the reason why I believe in it is because Mike McDonald, second time around, is not going to run it back. He's going to learn from his mistakes. He probably hired the wrong guy in Ryan Grubb. When it comes to philosophy, I think Grubb is still a good coordinator. But no, this quarterback situation is not going to have the pressure that Geno had last year to make every single throw and win your team some ball games by yourself because of the offense and because of the defense, right? The scheme on offense and the personnel on defense, whoever's over here, you'll have some help.
Someone said, how do they find a deep threat without DK?
You drafted?
They don't have that guy right now.
No, you don't have it. I think JSN is a deep threat, but it's different, right? He's a double move type of guy. He's a diagonal deep cross type of dude. He can beat you up top, but I mean, when you have a guy like DK who's like fourth in the league when it came to big plays, right, receptions over 20 yards, it's going to be hard to replace. So you got to go find him somewhere. You got to draft him, and most importantly, get that O-line right, though.
Someone said, if the Hawks do sign an offensive lineman or two and draft another, could we try to emulate Baltimore and sign Justin Fields or a similar type, a mobile quarterback to run an offense close to the Ravens?
Sounds good. It sounds good. I think in this offense, in this Kubiak offense, you're not looking for a mobile type of quarterback. It helps, right? It always helps a quarterback can buy yourself some time or whatnot. But no, you're going to hand the football off. You're going to bootleg. You're going to roll out. It's going to look a bit different, I think. I don't think you need a mobile quarterback, but obviously that helps.
All right, the trade of Geno Smith leaves Seattle with a lot of cap space, an extra day 2 pick. But who's throwing the ball for this team? Top names linked to Seattle coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft. On his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Hey, it's me, second base at T-Mobile Park. And my view, it's pretty sweet. I can see the big dumper flashing his platinum glove, firing a perfect throw right at me. Here comes the tag. Oh, got him.
Another strike him out, throw him out for Cal Raleigh.
Then there's Julio, stomping on me on his way to a stand-up triple. That dude is unreal.
Swinging a line drive, Julio round to third with a 2-out, 3-run triple.
And JP, smooth as silk, snaring line drives out of thin air.
And he takes a hit away!
Come check it out for yourself. There's nothing like being this close to the action. Although I'm still waiting to get invited to the wind dance. A base can dream. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Mariners opening day is on deck. Don't miss the festivities at T-Mobile Park on March 27th, including a ceremonial first pitch from Hall of Famer Ichiro. The fun continues all week with Randy Arozarena Cross-Armed Hoodie Night March 28th and a Julio Bat Flip Bobble Giveaway March 31st to April 2nd. Lock in your seats today at Mariners.com.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at mazdaofeverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop mazdaofeverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Kent Bowl reminds parents to enroll your kids in a positive youth program. Sports like bowling, hobbies, and community activities improve overall health and performance in school. These programs decrease drug use and violence and develop self-discipline and leadership skills. Let's team together this year to help our kids reach their full potential. Best wishes to all our kids from the entire team at Kent Bowl, a safe and friendly family-oriented setting since 1958. Find out about our bowling leagues online at kentbowl.net.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
So who's throwing the ball for the Seahawks? That was my number one question after Geno Smith was traded. And it's going to be a really fun one to answer. So let's go over some of the free agents, at least, that have been linked. Bump. The primary one has been Sam Darnold. Ian Rappaport talking about that link.
I'm really curious about the fallout from that Geno Smith trade that we had Friday night or whatever it was, seems like a million years ago, because what that did was open up a spot for potentially Sam Darnold with the Seattle Seahawks. And I think it's pretty clear to say he is at least the front runner there to be the next Seahawks quarterback. Just reading the tea leaves here, we'll see which way it goes, but that's what it seems to me. So if Sam Darnold goes to the Seahawks, and certainly be a younger version, ton of upside, maybe compared to Geno Smith, and I know someone who performed exceptionally well being coached by Kevin O'Connell last year.
Before we get to Sam Darnold as a potential fit for Kubiak for Seattle, let's start with a victory lap for you, because before Sam Darnold's 4,000-yard, 35-touchdown season, you were like, I actually am really excited about him being with the Vikings. I've got belief in this guy. What do you like about Sam? What does he do well? Why did you think that would be a good year for him?
Well, he's talented, obviously, right? Has a great arm. I watched film when he was with the Jets, and I just felt like he wasn't being nurtured and taken care of, honestly. When have the Jets ever taken care of their quarterbacks, though?
Literally no one.
It's been a while. Chad Pennington, maybe.
Not even Mark
10, 15
Sanchez.
years ago, right? It's been a while. But when you have the support that the Vikings have, and you have the talent that Sam Darnold has, obviously with his arm and whatnot, I think obviously it wasn't a hard thing to see, in my opinion, right? But now I'm looking at him, and I'm trying to see a fit here in Seattle, and you have to kind of piece things together, right? You got to look at Kubiak's offense with the Saints, and then back there with Minnesota, and try to insert Sam Darnold and see if he can do the things, if he can repeat what he did last year. That is the only holdup. People are asking themselves, can he do it again? Because we've only seen it for 1 year. Who knows? But what other options do you really have in the situation? You can look at a Justin Fields, right? Sam Darnold's 1 year last year with the Minnesota Vikings is better than Justin Fields, what he's done in, 3-4 years in this league right now. All right, so you have to lean on that 1 year. Do you go with a 27-year-old Sam Darnold? Do you go with a young Justin Fields? Or do you try to acquire Kirk Cousins? He just seems like the safe bet. Mm-hmm. I'm hesitant to be all in to believe that he can do it again, but when you watch him to throws, minus the last 2 games, when you watch his composure out there with those weapons, I get excited about it, but he needs more weapons. You just got JSN over here right now. You got Jake Bobo, Drake Young at this point, and Cody White. All right, if you were to roll out those guys right now, I would say the chances of him struggling are a lot higher than, obviously, if he had a DK over here. So he just needs to be supportive. He's not a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson type of dude, but he showed that if he's in the right offense, which I think he will be if he's here, and you give him some talent, he can make some things happen.
Sam's last great moment with the Vikings was obviously that win over, was it the Lions? No. I forget who they beat. When teammates, the locker room going crazy.
A little premature, too.
Yeah, lifting Sam up on their shoulders. But it was like oh, my God, what an amazing season for the Vikings. What an amazing comeback for Sam Darnold. That's so cool. And then the following 2 games, the season finale, and then obviously that wild card loss, you saw kind of the worst of Darnold. What is the worst of Darnold?
The worst of Darnold is him being pressured and seeing those ghosts that we keep hearing about, right? And that's how you disrupt any quarterback, is you apply pressure. And I think that's what we saw from Sam Darnold. And then the expectations. All right, I'm not in between his ears. I don't know what he's thinking, right? But this is the first time in his career he had that much success, and now people are expecting you to win ball games and get things done. It changes you a little bit. You hold on to the ball a bit longer. And also, when you have 17, 16 weeks of film, defensive coordinators understand how to attack you. How do you attack Sam Darnold? You send guys and you send pressure. I believe like the last 2 weeks of the season, he was one of the most blitz quarterbacks in the game, right? Defensive coordinators kind of figured something out and say, we're going to make him have to make the great play. So that would be his downfall the last couple of weeks. He got pressured a lot, didn't make great decisions, and who knows what was going on in his mind, because he's never been in that position before.
I don't know that I'm entirely focused on winning a Super Bowl as an expectation for the Seahawks this year. However, I would like to see some wins, and I would hate for them to pay Sam Darnold $35 million a year and then lose a ton of games. I am then worried about Sam Darnold behind this offensive line. And Minnesota's offensive line was not a top 5, top 10 offensive line, but they were around league average, at times pretty solid, until they lost, I think, Christian Darrisaw. I can't remember if it was for the season or not, but I worry about how much pressure he's going to face. Geno was one of the most pressured quarterbacks in football.
And that's what I loved about Geno, is that he would stand tall in that pocket. And in that Kevin O'Connell offense, there's a lot more moving of the pocket and getting Sam in these half rolls or whatnot, which you're going to see with Kubiak. There's a way that you can combat a defense if they want to send pressure, right? You always got to give them an outlet. You have your built-in hot routes, your checkdowns to your running backs, and you move the pocket, which I think Kubiak is going to do. That's why when we see that wide zone type of look, you can boot off of that and run a bunch of things. So, yeah, you got to protect him, man. Nothing is a for sure thing. Nothing is a for sure thing. I would love to have Sam Darnold over here, but I'm still going to go into the situation and say, all right, you have to prove it now. Is your connection with Kubiak going to be as strong as it was with Kevin O'Connell? There are some things that factored into the success of Sam Darnold other than him just playing good football. It's being the right situation. You got the right head coach. You have weapons on the outside, a decent run game, right? You're moving the pocket. There are some things that need to show up again for Sam Darnold to run it back, and he's still got to prove it.
Okay, so for the record, someone said, Bump, I don't recall you all over Sam Darnold last year. Let me tell you what. I made fun of Bump, which is how I can recall this. We had like a hype train at the beginning of the season where I was talking about, like Sam Darnold's going to lose his job in however many games. And me and Curtis made fun of Bump for being all in on Sam Darnold. It became a running joke of like, Sam's his boy. I can promise you, roll the tape and you will find Bump backing up Sam Darnold.
This, Sam Darnold that.
I was like, oh man, I feel so bad for the Vikings. JJ McCarthy's out for the season and now they got to stick with Sam Darnold. And Bump was like, don't worry. I believe in Sam, and I thought he was kidding. Shows how much I know. That's why I'm not the analyst. Okay. I've got a lot of people split between Justin Fields and Daniel Jones. You did talk about Fields a ton, but feel free if you want to reiterate. But what do you think about either of those two as a fit?
Daniel Jones or Justin Fields?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I've got like 10 answers on them.
Look, Daniel Jones is a mobile quarterback, had one good year with the New York Football Giants and got paid. Good for him. I think if anyone has more upside, it's going to be Justin Fields. We've seen him rush 4,000 yards. That's the thing that saves Justin Fields, that he's young and we know that he is mobile. And we also feel like the same thing, I talked about Sam Darnold not being supported. Justin Fields was not supported over there with the Chicago Bears. They didn't have a good ball club. Listen, to me, you have to go get Sam Darnold. If you can't get him, you look at Justin Fields. If you can't get them, then you're going out to the draft. And if you end up with Daniel Jones, he's just going to be another bridge quarterback. You're going to be in the same situation you were with Geno, even though Geno is a way better quarterback, in my opinion, than Daniel Jones. So that's the pecking order for me, man. Mm-hmm. If you get down to Daniel Jones, that means that nothing else worked for you, and that would be a scary situation.
Let's talk about their approach. I've had some people saying, I don't want a bridge quarterback. I don't want to pay a lot of money to a veteran. I just want to get a cheap quarterback in the draft. I'm guessing that's not the approach that you would take. No?
Take what?
Not getting a veteran at all, just going straight to the draft.
No, I think you need a veteran.
So why, for you, is that the case?
I think you need a veteran to kind of calm the waters down a little bit. Even if he's a veteran that's not going to be an all-pro, obviously a Pro Bowl type of dude, there's something to be said when you're going through install as a coach and you're having these high IQ conversations with a veteran. You know he knows what to do. Now, you still got to go out there and execute, and most of these quarterbacks do. You don't get to the NFL and not know the game of football, but there's this less teaching going on when you have a veteran there. You get your veteran, and then if you do hit the draft, you allow a young player, like, say, a Dart or somebody, just to grow. Like, you don't have to – there shouldn't be a rush here if you do get a young guy. I'm so tired of seeing these young guys get thrown into the mix. Unless you're like a number one pick, I guess, get thrown into the mix. They struggle for 2 or 3 years. They get kicked to the curb, and now they got to get traded to Minnesota to have another opportunity in like a Sam Darnold. So no, I just think that it's a slow and steady race that you can win with this defense. A veteran quarterback helps the defense. You pray that he just makes great decisions and take care of the football.
It sure feels like it's Sam Darnold, space, everyone else. Aaron Rodgers obviously was briefly linked to this team, beginning with reports as early as Saturday, and certainly yesterday there were quite a few, but it looks like he will be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the latest on that situation. By the way, when we have Dan Graziano on, it's a pre-taped interview. You're going to hear us breaking that news during the interview. So obviously that was earlier this morning. And by the way, Dan has some really, really interesting stuff about what he heard about what went down during the Geno Smith Seahawks stuff that I kind of perked up my ears a little bit. All right, the Hawks have 2 new draft picks and an entirely new list of needs. So what are the Seahawks working with in the draft this spring? That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Saul.
My phone is just blowing up here, obviously, with the news of Geno Smith being traded to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
This is more shocking to me, quite honestly, than the news a couple years ago that Russell was getting moved to Denver. They're willing to take a significant swing and risk to try to go from good to great. How do we find and pursue that next guy to make us great and to be a world champion?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Got neighbors? Big Trees can help. This is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. If you've been considering planting trees to add privacy, look no further than Big Trees. Privacy trees fill in empty spaces, help to define property lines, and add curb appeal. Learn more about Big Trees' big supply of privacy trees at bigtreesupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly. Big Trees.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. This summer, experience breathtaking Cascade views and world-class dining. Elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Your favorite Seattle sports show is available anywhere you go through the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center Proton Therapy. Full shows and interviews, exclusive video and articles from the home of the Seahawks and Mariners. From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Seahawks are facing an entirely new draft situation after monster trades of Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. They have 2 additional picks on day 2, leaving them 5 picks in the top 92. But they also have 2 new needs. Quarterback and wide receiver, obviously. So we're looking at between 10 and 11 picks. I've seen conflicting reports, and I think part of that's based on a comp pick. But also something interesting. This is from Nick Corti on X. He has the draft value of all the different Seahawks picks. And Curtis, you were looking at this earlier, and you noticed that based on this draft value, what?
That you could package a couple of your seconds or a couple of your thirds or a mix of your second and thirds and move up potentially back into the first round, and a pick that would probably be around pick 18. So maybe like 16 to 20. I mean, there's opportunities if you're strictly going off of, one of these draft pick value charts and, just doing the math there, because the value of pick 18 is at 1535. That's what this FS value chart is. And pick 52, which is what the Seahawks have, and pick 50 combined are over 2,000. So if you were to trade both your second round picks, you could theoretically get a pick higher than pick 18. Okay. Or if you package 52 and 92, that would get you a higher value than what 18 is.
And those are the 2 picks that you got via your trade. Okay, so like Curtis said, there's a scenario where the Seahawks could add another first-round pick, mid to late first-rounder. There's a scenario where they just keep the picks where they are. There's a scenario where they trade back and get, a ton of day 2 picks. Either way, Bump, when you look at what the Seahawks now have to work with, again, 5 picks in the top 100. I saw a tweet from BG who said, I don't know if they're like the only team with that or maybe like one of just a couple teams with 5 picks in the top 100. What areas of the draft now seem especially intriguing to you? Is there a position that seems intriguing? Do you think of stocking up on day 2? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I like what's going down in the second and the third rounds. And if we go off of what John Schneider has done in the past, he's always flipped some picks, right? That's his MO. That's part of his personality. He flips them. So when you have 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks, you're going to have conversations. And I think you should have those conversations. But I also like just staying put as well. I think that they're in a great position, right? 5 picks in the first 92. I think the closest one next to them is the Chicago Bears, who have 4 in the first 75. I think that the NFL draft is always just a chain reaction. And you have your idea of what you want to do at 18, at 50, and 52, but nothing's guaranteed. You have to sit there and watch this whole thing unfold. How do they value the offensive line? Are they going to be aggressive at the quarterback spot? That's what's going to determine this whole thing. I think at 18, the 18th pick will set the tone. If they go out there and get a quarterback at 18, then I can really see them flipping some things around, moving some 2s and some 3s, and doing their thing. But, no, I think we should expect John Schneider to make some moves, but I also think I would be okay just staying there.
Yeah, I don't want to trade completely back and give up a first-rounder. I think that one of the things I've lamented about this team is the lack of first-round selections. You're not always guaranteed success there, but when you look at the best teams in the league, whether it's, on the offensive line, I know we talk about, not overdrafting guards, or that's certainly something Schneider said, but you can also find a positive correlation between first-round picks and high-level talent most of the time, or at least often enough to not want to surrender that pick. So I'm tempted at the idea of 2 first-round picks, even if they're mid to late picks. But I wonder if it means we see a quarterback taken much earlier than expected. I wonder if it means we see John take a running back higher than we thought he would. Do we see 3 second-round running backs on this roster?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, he's been really high on this class. What's the earliest that to you they could take a quarterback and you'd think, I'm okay with it, it makes sense, I'm fine with that?
18. I mean, I'm completely fine with that. And I'm fine with it now because I don't know what the quarterback situation is for real.
Sure.
Right? I'm waiting to see if Sam Darnold is signed and he does come to Seattle. I'm okay with him not going with a quarterback at 18 and just waiting because you're going to sign this young man to a 3 to 4 year deal. You know he's going to be here. He's 27 years of age. He's young. So there's no rush to get a quarterback. If nothing is to happen at the quarterback position, which I doubt that is the case here, then at 18, you go ahead and get your quarterback if he's there. If Jackson Darnold is there, I would take him at 18. But I'm waiting to see what happens with Sam Darnold. I think that is the first domino to fall. We have to wait. I think that will set the tone with this whole draft if they go. So now if you were to get like a Justin Fields or something like that, then I look at 18 and I can still see them drafting a quarterback at 18. And it's weird because I'm looking at Justin Fields. He's got, 3 years of experience, 3 or 4 years of experience. And he hasn't wowed me. But 1 year of Sam Darnold, I'm banking on that more than 3 or 4 years of seeing Justin Fields play because of just how massive that year was. Text lines are blowing up. Last 2 games, he didn't do anything. Clearly. We're going to ignore other 15 games, though. Like, we can't look at those last 2 games and just ignore everything else that happened. It was a big moment. Got smacked by the Lions, I think it was, and then by the Rams. I get it. There is concern there. But to ignore 15 games of him just going nuts is irresponsible.
If you were paying Sam Darnold to be the future of your franchise, paying him $45, $46 million per year and saying, we believe we're going to win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, I'd be paying a lot more attention to those last 2 games. And I'd be saying, I do not think you're going to see the 15-game version of Sam Darnold, or 16-game version of Sam Darnold behind this offensive line. I don't think that's what they're doing, though.
No.
I'm okay. I'm very okay with this version of Sam Darnold at a cheaper deal than Geno, with the knowledge that the point is you're finding a young quarterback and you don't want to throw your young quarterback who's still developing into an offense with so many question marks, a brand new offensive coordinator, a brand new scheme, 3 question marks on the interior of your offensive line, like no depth behind Jackson Smith and Jigba in your wide receiver room, question marks about, your tight end fit and how everything's going to work out, an injury history for Ken Walker at running back. You want to throw a rookie quarterback on that offense and just let him go to work? Why do you think the Bears are spending so much money up front in free agency and via trade? They're not trying to win a Super Bowl this year. They don't want to mess up the development of Caleb Williams.
Here's the thing, too. You have to make a move. You can't just sit there. And it's almost like beggars can't be choosers. This is the situation you are in, Seattle. Geno is out of here. What are your best options right now? It's Sam Darnold. It's Justin Fields. Throw an old man Kirk in there if you want to. And it is the draft. And you want to go Daniel Jones and throw Daniel Jones and Sam Howell into that situation, okay? Let's get everybody out there. This is your situation. What are you going to do? Are you going to go with a young man in Justin Fields that's shown that, look, he can win some ball games, but is not going to wow you? You're going to go with a Sam Howell, who we've seen pop up on the text lines, who has shown that he will turn the football over, did throw for a bunch of yards. Are you going to go with Kirk Cousins, who has shown that he can't stay healthy? These are your options. Or you go to the draft and you get a young guy and you hope that you don't jack him up. If I'm making the decisions, it's Sam Darnold, and maybe get a guy late in the draft to come over here and try to develop. I do think that Sam Darnold is going to cost about as much as Geno, though. I think Geno got 40, 45, I think is the numbers that we're hearing.
Really?
I think Sam's going to be just around there as well.
Well, speaking of Geno, ESPN NFL insider Dan Graziano, we taped with him a little bit earlier, so you're going to hear the Aaron Rodgers breaking news during this article. Obviously, that happened earlier this morning. You also, though, are going to hear some really fascinating insight about what Dan heard kind of went down between those contract negotiations, particularly from Geno's side of things. That's coming our way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft, on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe.
At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, dream engagement rings are our specialty. We have the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds, hand-picked in every price range, ready to compare side by side. Shop online at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Where to even start today? How about with this morning's non-Seahawks news, just to get those moves out of the way? Wide receiver Chris Godwin is off the market. Adam Schefter reporting he's re-signing with Tampa Bay to a 3-year contract with 2 fully guaranteed years. Khalil Mack also off the market. He reached an agreement on a 1-year fully guaranteed contract with the Chargers. Finally, J.C. Horn agreed to a 4-year, $100 million extension with the Panthers. That deal, $25 million per year. That makes him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. Why it's relevant for the Seahawks. Worth keeping an eye on when they look to extend Devin Witherspoon next offseason.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross. Here we go now.
NFL insider for ESPN, Dan Graziano, joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Dan, we have a lot of things to talk to you about here in Seattle. I'm going to start with Geno Smith's trade.
Anything going on out there?
No, it's quiet weekend. I did not expect the Ernest Jones news to be like the quiet story, but
right.
I know. I'm going to start with Geno, and that's because we all knew that DK might be traded. We knew that Tyler Lockett was going to be released. We knew that eventually they'd move on from Geno, but the idea around the city was it's not going to be this year. So this news was pretty shocking in Seattle, and I'm sure outside of it. What was your reaction?
Yeah, my understanding, I think the team also didn't think it was going to be this year, and I think, they went to have a conversation about a new contract. He had 1 year left on his contract, and can we bring this in line with his performance, which has been, top 10-ish quarterback in the league, right, since he's been a starter. So they reached a point in the negotiations where, both sides kind of got to a realization that Geno might just sort of rather be elsewhere, and kind of was willing to play out the final year of his current deal at $31 million and then go. And I think when Seattle sort of realized that, then it's like, all right, well, then we should trade him and get something for him as opposed to just waiting for him to leave at the end of the year. So it seems to have been as much from his end as theirs, at least, if not more so. Whether that means he wanted to go play for Pete Carroll, I don't get the sense that he was like upset with the Seahawks about anything except maybe the contract. But we'll see what happens in Vegas, what he ends up signing for there. But it seemed like he was at least as big a part of the reason why it fell apart as the team was.
Interesting.
What are your expectations for Geno in Las Vegas? Over here, it's kind of been a love-hate relationship with some of our listeners. They love him. They don't like the Reds on interceptions. They don't like the interceptions in general. But what are your expectations for Geno over in Vegas?
I think, a lot of it's going to have to do with what they build for him in terms of the line and in terms of a wide receiver group. I mean, Jacoby Myers is a reliable guy, and obviously Brock Bowers at tight end had a monster year and should continue to be a major weapon. But I think I'm in the camp of I think Geno was a little underappreciated in terms of his performance in Seattle. And I know I'm sure some people appreciate him, but you mentioned kind of a mixed bag, right? So I think he did a lot there to overcome some deficiencies, especially on the offensive line, which ironically I think you're going to now see Seattle address in free agency. And I think he'll do well as long as they put the infrastructure around him. And the relationship with Pete Carroll is not to be underestimated here. Like that is, Pete gave him a shot and he made good on it, and each of them really appreciates that about the others. So I think he'll do well. It's not as good a team as the Seahawks are in terms of the roster, I don't think, but I think he'll play well for the Raiders. Now, who, by the way, might still also look at the draft and a long-term solution.
Dan, what are you hearing about any free agent quarterbacks who could be linked to Seattle?
Well, in the wake of the trade news Friday night, the entire league seemed to believe that Sam Darnold would end up in Seattle. I had some people kind of try and talk me off of that yesterday, but it still feels like that's the most likely outcome there. I know they've looked into Justin Fields. I know they've looked into Aaron Rodgers, but most people you talk to seem to think that Darnold to Seattle feels like the most likely resolution to this quarterback conundrum that Seattle now has. So I think those are the three names to watch, with Darnold the one with an asterisk next to it.
If you're able to share, what were the people trying to talk you off of it saying? Like, did they think it just wouldn't be a fit?
Just sort of like, it's not done yet. Don't assume it's done. Like people were telling me on Saturday, like, Darnold this year is a done deal. And then yesterday it was like, I wouldn't say that. So, yeah, not that it wouldn't be a good fit, but almost more or less.
Like, don't jump the gun.
I mean, right. And that could be, there's all kinds of reasons people will try to tell you that at this time of year, right? So it may well be that in the next 5 minutes there's news on this, and it's Darnold. But yeah, I think I know that they are, that Fields and Rodgers were two names that they've at least looked into in addition to Darnold. I don't know. I don't know where either of it stands. I know the Giants are interested in Rodgers. Rodgers is interested in something better than that. That could be Seattle, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. So I think we'll have some clarity on all this this afternoon, or maybe even this morning where you guys are.
Dan, as you know, when things happen, we try to make sense of it, right? With DK getting moved and then also Geno not being the guy. I'm looking at this Seahawks team, and to me, they were playoff contenders about a week ago. And now I'm looking at them, and I'm trying to figure out what are real expectations for this team. I mean, you have to get yourself a quarterback. You lost your number one receiver in DK Metcalf. Did they take 2 steps back to take a couple forward? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things to look at. They're always taking the big picture view, right? Of always kind of, like, how are we going to maintain? How are we going to stay good? And they've done it for the most part. So they're looking at, DK Metcalf wants $30 million a year. If you're the Seahawks, is DK Metcalf that player? Like, 75 catches a year, right? Like, I know he's a different sort of physical specimen than anybody else, but production-wise, like, is he irreplaceable in terms of his, his stats? Probably not. And certainly, if you're probably not going to need to spend $30 million a year to try to replace him. So Jackson Smith, first-round pick, looks like a fantastic player. Had a big year, obviously. The leading receiver once upon a time on an Ohio State team that had Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson on it. So, like, he's no joke. And I think you could maybe build around him as your number one. And as a result of these trades that they agreed to over the weekend, the Seahawks will end up having right now 5 picks in the first 92, I believe, in the draft. So they feel like that gives them a lot of capital with which to maneuver, maybe make some more deals, maybe move around in the draft if they need to, go and get a stud receiver or something like that. And again, I do think you'll see them active in free agency, especially as it pertains to the offensive line.
Are there names you think they might target or anything like that? Or do you think that the offensive line will be their priority?
I think the offensive line will be their priority. In terms of names to target, you could look at anybody's list of, best
guys.
Like the guy Will Fries, the guard from Indianapolis, he's getting a lot of interest. I think if you're spending on interior offensive line, he's a guy that you might try and go get. Patrick McCarry in Baltimore, these aren't exciting names, they're guards, but they're important. The whole Bears offseason so far has been about the interior offensive line, and they're excited about that out there.
I think about Kubiak in this whole situation, right? He gets this job. You have a quarterback. You have a number one target at receiver. You got to fix this offensive line. How do you feel? What position do you think that puts him in? Do you think he went into this situation thinking, all right, I got Geno and DK, or do you think he had an inkling that, pieces can be moved, but I'm just going to take this job anyway?
Good question. I don't know. It's one of those. I love to be able to say, I'm plugged in on all this. I don't know the answer to your question whether Clint Kubiak took the job expecting that Geno Smith would be there, or whether he was aware of the possibility that it could fall apart with Geno. Because I really feel like the team was kind of surprised that it fell apart with Geno. I think with DK, with 1 year left on the deal, $18 million, whatever. I think there were probably conversations with offensive coordinator candidates where they said, well, it's not a sure thing he's here long term. We don't know if we're going to sign him. But with Geno, I'm not sure. So, Clint Kubiak, after what he went through last year in New Orleans, is probably just hoping to have 11 healthy guys, because that fell apart to such a ridiculous extent last year that he almost couldn't do anything with it. If it's Darnold, he and Kubiak have a relationship, and and he has some understanding of the offense and what Kubiak wants to run, and that should give them a little bit of a jump start.
Hey, speaking of DK, I know that there are some Seahawks fans that are now like, well, I don't care, he's with another team, but I'm interested. I think, him and Pickens, obviously a great duo, similar receivers, but I'd rather have two great receivers than one. Who's throwing them the ball? When you mentioned the Seahawks maybe being interested in Justin Fields, I kind of assumed the Steelers would try to retain him. What do you think's happening there?
The Steelers have tried to retain him, but, noon Eastern came and went, and he wasn't signed, which means now anybody can take a whack at it, and the Jets are a team that I believe is going to have some interest. As I mentioned, the Seahawks are a team that at least has some interest in exploring it, and if it's not a done deal with Darnold, then maybe you see something percolate there. But if Fields leaves, if he goes to sign with the Jets or someone else, I think the Steelers' pivot at this point feels like it might well be Aaron Rodgers, who is somebody that's kind of hit their radar screen here in recent days. And as I mentioned, is kind of hoping for an opportunity with a playoff caliber team, which again, the Giants, who seem interested in Rodgers, are not perceived to be in this day and age because they just have been in a pretty rough zone lately. So I think that's where you would look next. If Fields were to leave Pittsburgh, I would not be surprised to see them pivot to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, my producer doing what he does, a great job, handed me his phone, and it looks like the Steelers are getting close to a deal with Aaron Rodgers. How much you think is left on the tank in the tank with Aaron Rodgers? 41 years of age. He had a decent year last year when it comes to numbers. There's some other things that factor into that. What are your thoughts there?
Decent year when it comes to numbers. Inconsistent, which you would expect with a guy who's 40, 41, going to turn 42 during this upcoming season. Coming off a major injury, coming off the Achilles, people will tell you second year back off an Achilles is always better than the first. But again, there's not a lot of guys that have done it at 41. So the list of quarterbacks that have had postseason success past the age of 40 in the NFL has one name on it. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers believes he's good enough to be the second name, but the only name on it is Tom Brady, and it's difficult. So Rodgers, I think if you're the Steelers and you're bringing in Rodgers, you have to rebuild your run game. You have to address your young offensive line, make sure that you fill the holes from last year and re-sign the guys you need to re-sign. You're going to have to address some things on defense because there's going to be a little age on that side of the ball there. So I don't think the Steelers are an Aaron Rodgers away from going from 10-17 to Super Bowl contender, but they need some stability at that position that they haven't really had since Ben Roethlisberger was fading away, and I think he would represent that, especially relative to the rest of this year's quarterback market.
I feel like I just saw an NFL insider work a magic trick in real time. Saying Aaron Rodgers seems like the most likely fit, and then immediately following that, some breaking news about Aaron Rodgers, closing in on a deal with the Steelers is pretty cool. Dan,
yeah. It felt like again when it started to feel like they might not get Fields.
Yeah.
It was starting last night and this morning. It was starting to feel like that was their pivot. So we'll see.
So outside of news and outside of rumors and things that you're hearing, sometimes it's just nice, like as a football fan, as people who are interested in how teams are constructed and how they win, to step back and go, what's interesting to me about this team? Less about like what I'm hearing and what just fascinates me about them. When you look at the Seahawks now, after a weekend of moves, really big moves, what's the most interesting thing to you about this team, or maybe even your biggest question?
Well, I think the biggest question is what the offense is going to look like. I think with Mike Macdonald as the head coach, we have a pretty good sense of what they want to do on defense and the time it will take to get there, which, you look at what he did in Michigan, look at what he did in Baltimore. I think you have a reason to expect that the second year of Mike Macdonald's defense will be better and closer to what he would consider a finished product than the first. So, offensively, yeah. I mean, who's the quarterback? What's the offense going to look like? They are strong at running back. Is it going to be a run-heavy team, a run-first team? Feels like that's probably what your defensive-minded head coach would like it to be. So, yeah, what are the rest of the additions? Who the guys they do sign up for the offensive line? Are they guys that make it look like, we want to be a run-first, run-blocking heavy team, or are they pass protectors that'll help Darnold air it out? And if so, to whom? So I think they're kind of rebuilding an offense on the fly around Jackson Smith and Jigba, a couple of really good tackles and a couple of really good running backs.
Hey, what did you think of the DK deal? Did you feel like he got paid properly, a bit too much? What are your thoughts with those numbers?
There is a real split in the league in terms of teams. Like, some will tell you there is no way I am ever going to pay a wide receiver $30 million a year. It's not worth it. 8 of them come out in the draft every year, et cetera. And then there are teams that feel like it's the cost of doing business. Now, the Steelers have been trying to get a wide receiver for over a year now. They were in on Brandon Ayuk and all these other guys last summer. So a second-round pick and a $30 million a year contract for a guy who's been to 90 catches in a season once in 6 years. It feels to me like an overspend, but he is all, I think, is he 26, 27, right? So it's not, he may not be a finished product. There may be more to come. Maybe their offense can help unlock some more than Seattle's did with him. Like, he's obviously the physical ability, there's no question about, and he can help you win in ways that other receivers can't. But, to me, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, these feel like $30+ million a year wide receivers. I think I'd probably put DK in the next tier down, which I guess maybe the top of that is 30 now. I don't know. It's, guys like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle were signing for 27-ish last summer, and, I guess you could make the case that he's better than them, but you probably could also make the opposite case.
He's NFL insider for ESPN, Dan Graziano. Dan, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, Bump. Who's had a great offseason so far?
So far, so good for this organization. They have a quarterback who was sacked 68 times last year, the most in the NFL. 110 bad throws, the most in the NFL. He was blitzed about 175 times, the second most in the NFL, and had 160 pressures, the second most in the NFL. We're talking the Chicago Bears, man. They've had a good offseason so far. You got Jonah Jackson, you get Tooney as well. You have 4 selections in the first 75 picks. This is interesting because there is talent over there. We'll see if they sign Keenan Allen. You still got DJ Moore over there and Roma Dunze. But I feel like Caleb Williams probably doesn't get the love that he deserved. He did get, Jay Dams got Rookie of the Year, right? Offensive Rookie of the Year. But he did a lot with a little. And when you watch him play football, he took care of the football. He bought himself some time. The Bears are doing what you should do, what the Hawks probably need to do, which is go and get yourself some veteran offensive linemen. So quietly, some people are talking about the Chicago Bears, but I don't think they're getting enough attention. They've done a great job so far to try to protect their quarterback. Let's see if their defense can step it up and if Caleb can take another step in his career.
Second down. Devontae Adams now with the Rams. Why do you think Adams will play well in L.A.?
I think that offense fits him perfectly. I think that we talked about him on Friday. He's not a 4-3, I'm going to run by you type of guy. He is great off the line of scrimmage with his movements. He is great working across the field, east and west, horizontally, and just finding space. And I think that Sean McVay is going to find ways to give him the football. Would he get like $26 million guaranteed, 40-something over the next couple of seasons? This is going to be a good experiment. If there is an elder receiver in the league that I trust, is going to be Devontae. I think he was wasted over there with the Jets. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers having his troubles. But you pair him up with Puka Nacua. They got a good run game over there. I think he's going to shine, unfortunately, for the Los Angeles Rams because we got to see him twice a year. But I really like this move for him. I'm in this group chat, and a bunch of my guys are saying, they paid too much for Devontae. I go, he's had like 1,000 yards every year. He's what, 30? How old is he? 33?
31,
31? Yeah, somewhere. Anyway, 30s. Old in football years, right?
Yeah.
But his game ages well. And I think that McVay is going to dial up some plays. Puka's going to take some pressure off of him. Run game's going to be good. Matthew Stafford. If you are a Los Angeles Rams fan, you should be excited because I think Devontae's going to be all right.
Well, and speaking of Puka, Bump, you've noted this multiple times when it comes to big contracts. It's all about the situation, too. Like, a contract might be a good situation for one team and a bad situation for another. It would be silly for a team with big contracts invested in wide receivers to pay Devontae that much, but the Rams are paying Puka Nacua nothing because he's a fifth-round pick on a rookie deal, so they can pay Devontae this money.
Got a couple years.
Third down. The text lines have been asking your opinion on Joe Milton. Would he be a good fit in Seattle?
I've watched the one game that Joe Milton played. It's crazy, man. Texans are funny. The Texans is a funny place because
it's a wild world.
It is. A lot of people like Sam Darnold. A lot of people don't like Sam Darnold. You look at his last 2 games and how he just crumbled and didn't play well. And then they go crazy over Joe Milton. He played one game, 22 for 29, 241 and 1 touchdown. But I'm not mad at the Texans bringing up this name. I think that if you were to grab him, he can sit for a while and learn from a veteran. He brings something to the table that a lot of quarterbacks don't. He's a big boy, 6'5", 240-something pounds, has a rocket for an arm. I'm not mad at Joe Milton. I would definitely want to see him here or explore the options of bringing him here, but I think he needs to be supported by a veteran quarterback. That's why I'm so high on Sam Darnold right now. And now we're hearing that Trevor Lawrence is in the mix when it comes to possibilities for the Seahawks. That one scares me a bit. Going to cost a lot of money to take over that contract. But Joe Milton, not mad at him. If he were to come over here and develop, I'd be okay.
That report bump mentioning coming up at 11:45. 4th down. Anything from Dan Graziano?
Yeah, it's crazy how he talked about Geno and alluded to Geno just wanted out at some point. And I don't think you and I ever thought it would get to that. The way that we heard McDonald and Schneider talk about Geno made it seem like they're going to get this deal done. But that is just how crucial these negotiations are, right? It doesn't mean that there was bad blood or there was beef or anything. It just means that when it came down to business, they couldn't match up the numbers. And Geno is supposed to try to get the bag right now. This is his last opportunity to really get paid. So it was interesting to hear him talk about it because going into this weekend, I thought this deal would get done, and Geno's no longer here on this football team. Mm-hmm. He's with the Vegas Raiders. So, yeah, I think it was interesting, man. He said a few interesting things. You had a couple of notes about some things you heard from Dan.
Yeah, it was just, to me, I agree with you. The most interesting thing of it being from Geno's side, because the entire weekend, all the notes that I wrote down for our show were, what do these moves tell us? If the Seahawks could have kept Geno and DK, tried to stay really competitive, build on 10 wins, but they didn't. Why? And I was constantly thinking about it from a John Schneider point of view, forgetting DK requested a trade. Mm-hmm. Geno requested a trade. Mm-hmm. Why, from these players' points of view, did they, maybe did they not feel willing to come down on the number? Did they not feel willing to stay here? And so I was just thinking of it from Geno's point of view, and I was thinking, does he not think Seattle can build up that offensive line? Right. Does he not feel as though Seattle genuinely believes they can win with him over the next couple years? Does he feel like this is only going to be one season? Did he miss playing for Pete, right?
Sure, that has something to do with it.
Yeah, it's not like he picked the team as far as we know, but that was a quick deal. I mean, if Geno requested a trade late in the week and then a trade was struck very quickly, Vegas was on it the whole time. I kind of wonder if
Pete Carroll called everybody in that building as soon as he got that job.
Yeah.
Everybody.
He was ringing cells. He was texting. He was DMing.
Facebook messaging.
Sending carrier pigeons. Is Geno available? What are you going to do with them? Speaking of Geno, was the writing on the wall the whole time when it comes to Geno and DK trades? That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Joining us here in the booth, Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill.
Julio being Julio is still going to matter, I think, more than anyone else you bring in. I think he can be a true difference maker, all-star MVP quality. I mean, we all know what his ceiling could be. And I'm actually really confident that he's going to have a big year. And because we have seen it in flashes where he has been among the best players in baseball.
Yeah.
Like the absolute best player that this game has to offer.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business?
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Well, the longer days, the sunny breaks in the weather, they've got me dreaming of summer, right? Getting out in the golf course, heading on vacation, or just enjoying our beautiful Northwest region. Make this summer one to remember by looking and feeling your absolute best. You can do it, and if you start right now, you can accomplish that goal before Memorial Day weekend. It's Mike Salk here, and 45 days is all it takes. You can lose almost a pound each day. I lost 35 total with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I'll let you in a little secret. Those 45 days, they're not even that hard. No crazy dieting, no cardio or crazy exercise. Definitely no pills or injections with any kind of potentially scary side effects. None of that. You're eating healthy, delicious meals that you make for yourself and buy at the grocery store, and you watch the pounds absolutely fall off. Find out if you can do it. I know you can. A 15-minute call is all it takes. No obligation. Schedule it right now at eastsideweightlossklinik.com. You got nothing to lose other than like a ton of weight. Go to eastsideweightlossklinik.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy zero down, zero payments, and zero interest, same as cash, 12-month financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com to save double today.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at proscope.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's proscope.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Breaking news, the Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $110.5 million contract with Seattle that includes $55 million guaranteed. That's about $36 million per year. Bump, your immediate reaction?
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. You know, a quarterback who fits this offense or what we think this offense is going to be, right? He ran a similar offense with the Minnesota Vikings. I think that this was priority number one, was to get Sam Darnold. And we talked about all the other possibilities, and I'm glad that they went this route. There is going to be some hesitancy from 12s to really buy into this, and I get it, right? Because the last two games of the season, my man folded. But now it's about supporting Sam Darnold. You got your quarterback. You need an offensive line. You need another receiver as well. But I like the move, man, and it's $36 million, and it sounds like it's going to be less than what Geno was asking for. And, yeah, it worked out, and I'm glad that they didn't take their time with this. You went and you got this done so you can start moving forward and just give Kubiak some direction. Could you imagine being Kubiak? You come over here like, okay, I got Geno, I got DK. Hold on, I don't have Geno, DK. Y'all better go get me a dang quarterback. So I'm happy for Kubiak.
I need one for my offense.
I need one. Actually, I do need a quarterback. You need a quarterback to play football.
You need it.
So I know I'm happy that there is a direction, and I'm interested to see if he can bring that game from Minnesota to the Northwest.
If you are just now joining us, former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold is now quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. He signed a 3-year, $110.5 million contract, including $55 million guaranteed. This reported just a few minutes ago from ESPN's Adam Schefter. This deal comes out to $36 million per year. In Bump, earlier in the show when you and I were having a conversation about what's the next move at quarterback, turns out we get an answer like 30 minutes later. But
love when that happens.
A lot of people on the Mac and Jacks text line were saying, God, I was already worried about paying Geno. Then they traded him. I don't want to pay someone else. Why, for you, is it the right decision for Seattle to pay Sam Darnold?
I like the contract. It's only $36 million a year. And remember, you and I were having conversations at the end of last year talking about Darnold's going to get like 50 out of this whole thing.
I thought, in week 14.
Oh, yeah. We thought he was getting 50 of them things, right? But end up getting 36. It's a friendly deal. It's what, 3-year contract? Mm-hmm. And you're committed to him, but it's not like you're breaking the bank. You got 55, guaranteed, and it still allows you to move. It still allows you to go get an offensive lineman, to maybe go get a receiver. Who knows? But I like the move. This is the one that I wanted to go down. Thank you for listening to me, John Schneider, and giving this team some directions. I think that's huge.
Schneider actually just made an update to his initial report. It's a 3-year, $100.5 million deal. That's $33 million per year, not 36.
Okay, let's bring it down.
I feel like I just girl mathed this deal where I'm like, I basically made money signing Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? They were like, you know, if we take out $3 million per year, I'm like, wow, I'm getting Sam for free. No, I to build off of what you're saying, I really like the example that Mike and Brock were using this morning. Everyone points to the Alex Smith situation with Kansas City because not only was Kansas City still able to win with Alex Smith there, I think he won a playoff game with them, but obviously what came from that was a dynasty, finding their quarterback of the future, and he was able to sit behind him. I don't know that Seattle is trying to model any organization after that. I don't think so. I think what they're doing, though, is finding a way to still serve fans. How can we make sure that when you buy your season tickets, that when you go to these games, that when you pay hundreds of dollars to attend with your family, you can feel like there's a win? Like there is a win that can be there. And I also just think John Schneider's immensely competitive. You know him. I don't think he wants to tank. I don't think he has any interest in losing a lot. Having Sam here lets you do that while also looking to the future. This is a 3-year deal. This is $33 million. This is not betting the farm on Sam Darnold to take you to a Super Bowl. This is saying, we believe in you. We think we can win with you, but we're focused on building up this offense. It feels like from scratch. We know the direction they want to go in, though.
Yeah, and it's a friendly deal. $33 million. Geno's asking for $45 million. He's probably going to get that with the Vegas Raiders. You have Sam Darnold, who's a younger player. You can help mold and develop him. I just like this situation. I like it better than a Justin Fields move. I like it better than relying on a rookie in the draft. I like it better than trying to bring over the old homie Kirk Cousins. So be it. Look, it's a gamble. Every move you make in sports, whether it's signing new or hiring new coaches, signing new players, hitting the draft, it's a gamble. I'm not sitting here and guarantee you that this is going to work out, but I think that out of all the names that I just mentioned, he gives you the best chance to win football games. It was either Geno or him. And I think maybe Geno, I would have preferred to have Geno here because I feel like he can handle pressure, right? But the same way we're talking about Geno and we're pointing out his flaws and, well, he turns the football over. Okay, well, let him go. Let's bring over a young man who didn't turn over the football as much as Geno did at the end of the season. There's still some things that Sam Darnold needs to work on.
Yes.
And I think that Kubiak is looking at him and Mike McDonald's looking at him and saying, we can help him grow here. We can put you in a quarterback-friendly offense and help you grow. Now it's about supporting him with the run game. You got to get this run game going. You need another receiver. 18 looks a bit different to me now, the number 18 pick. If Sam Darnold was not, signed to the Seattle Seahawks, I'd be looking at 18 and saying you probably got to get Jackson Dart if he is there. So now I'm looking at 18 and thinking to myself, you can just get the best player. Just get the best player you think is available. Go ahead and hit free agency and get yourself an offensive lineman. But it feels like there's been some pressure taken off of that pick.
Speaking of getting the best player and just trying to add a lot of talent, I'm going to go to this text from the Mac and Jacks text line. What are we doing, says the 253. We're still just a middle-of-the-road team with this move. Respectfully, the Seahawks were going to be a middle-of-the-road team without this move.
Yeah.
In fact, you were potentially going to be a very bad team without this move. I think if you were to start a rookie behind an offensive line that you didn't rebuild, you were going to be a bad team. I think that if you were to, go bargain shopping in free agency and get just anyone, you were going to be a bad team. I think that what Seattle needs to do, and what it certainly feels like their plan is, we need more talent. We need to get blue chip guys. We need to hit in the draft. We need to find success here. It's why I think that John Schneider's probably excited to have a lot of bites at the apple. Someone else very fairly pointed out, well, they only have one pick in like the top 45 or so selections. Correct, 18 overall, and then they've got 50, 52. And then I think, I forget the other one, 92, 90 and 92. However, that is still a lot to work with in a draft where there's quite a bit of talent concentrated on day 2. This is the year where Seattle tries to build its way out of the middle of the pack. Nothing was going to change today, tomorrow, the next day, unless you were going to trade for Josh Allen and his $250 million guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
You were otherwise the same.
You still got to prove it, right? This gives you a bit more optimism about just the path in the future in which they're going. Because at one point, I felt like this team was a leaf blowing in the wind. Just the wind is taking you wherever. There's really no direction, but at least there's direction now. So when you do pick up a quarterback, you start to think about your install and how you're going to use him. You're watching film, how you're going to support him. It just gives you direction. The direction this team is headed is not guaranteed. They can come out and win 9-10 games again next year, but at least you have direction. You're starting to build. And I think that's what gets me excited during the offseason is when you see a team start to build and they add another piece and you start to get a direction or feel or see a direction in which they're going. So, no, there is some optimism here with me with Sam Darnold. I wanted him. But he's still got to prove some stuff, and that's why you have coaches. That's why you have teammates to help support and help this young man grow.
All right, if you're just joining us, breaking news from Adam Schefter. About 15 minutes ago, former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $100.5 million deal with the Seattle Seahawks, including $55 million guaranteed. It's a deal that will ultimately pay Sam an average annual value of $33 million per year, significantly less than reports of Geno's request for a new deal. Bump last minute, and then we're going to talk about Sam's fit in this offense and kind of what you've learned about watching Kubiak's film and stuff. What do you think the bet that John is making is? I saw someone suggest, you could pay more for a sure thing with Geno, or you could gamble on Sam working out. Like, what's the bet?
Whose season are you taking? Geno's season last year or Sam Darnold's season last year? You're probably taking Sam Darnold. That's why it's the text lines are just crazy because it's like you're danged if you do, you're danged if you don't. Like, I understand Geno's flaws or whatnot, but Sam Darnold had a better year than Geno last year, and you're getting him for cheaper. So I didn't even answer your question. I just had that on my mind.
No, it's okay. It's actually perfect because I've got to transition to our next segment, and I'm very excited for it. You really, really liked Minnesota's offense last year, and so thankfully you actually have a lot of tape on Sam Darnold, a lot of tape on the Vikings because you really liked a lot of what they did. Obviously, we don't have Kevin O'Connell here, but we do have Kubiak, and you watched some Kubiak film over the last couple months, while we talked about that potential hire. So let's combine that. And let's talk about Sam Darnold, what he did last year in the Vikings offense that you liked, the potential of working with Kubiak, where the advantages are. That's coming our way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Saul.
My phone is just blowing up here, obviously, with the news of Geno Smith being traded to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
This is more shocking to me, quite honestly, than the news a couple years ago that Russell was getting moved to Denver. They're willing to take a significant swing and risk to try to go from good to great. How do we find and pursue that next guy to make us great and to be a world champion?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
No more football means I'm ready for an escape, and since my weekends are free, I'm looking for something fun, relaxing, with some entertainment built in. I got just a place for you, Silver Reef Casino and Resort. They got a hotel, they got spa, have multiple restaurants, including the best steakhouse north of Seattle and the brand new The Cantina. Also have concerts and events, and hold up, they got golf, so you know your boy is out there once the weather gets good. It's all systems go on Silver Reef Casino Resort. Don't try to tell me it's too far. You'll spend more time in traffic getting Bobby to his games this weekend. Get on I-5 North, and you are essentially there. Join Reef Rewards, and you'll get 10% off at the resort. Don't wait. Visit Silver Reef Casino Resort, silverreefcasino.com, and book your stay. There's something for everyone at Silver Reef Casino.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
You have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last dent. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last dent. Accurate Auto Body.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
The future is here. So why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. The Cyberknife system, with advanced tracking technology and robotic design, keeps the radiation on target even with tumor or patient movement. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. And the treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. But the technology is only half the story. The skilled and dedicated team of providers and caregivers match the technology by providing unparalleled, personalized treatment plans and compassionate care. They are committed to patient-focused care, partnering with the patient and their families. The results speak for themselves. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. When diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Sam Darnold is the Seahawks' new quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting he signed a 3-year, $100.5 million deal, $55 million guaranteed. That's $33 million per year. I like this question, Bump, from Noah and Callie. If we swapped quarterbacks last year, but then everything else remained the same, Noah was just asking basically how do they look? And I'm using it to set up this segment because Sam Darnold had over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns last year in what was a career year for him. However, that was with a lot of weapons and in an offense that you know a lot about, and he's not carrying that here. So let's talk about what worked with Sam last year, what you liked about the Vikings offense, and then we'll talk about, well, how does Sam find success here in Seattle? So we'll start with the Vikings.
Yeah, Sam. He what worked with Sam last year was he has one of the best receivers in the game over there. And Justin Jefferson, he had Addison as well. And the way they use Justin Jefferson, like the route tree back in my day, Stacy, the route tree was 0 to 9.
Flower.
Right? 0 to 9. Right? The routes that these offenses are allowing these receivers to run now are extremely creative. It takes advantage of the wide zone look. For Justin Jefferson, one of the best routes I see him run is running that deep over, right? He starts from the left side, runs that deep over around 20 yards, puts his foot back to the ground, and heads back to the corner, taking advantage of the flow of the defense. That's what Sam Darnold did a good job of recognizing, just the flow of the defense. And a Kubiak type of offense, it's not a you're going here with the football. It's kind of let the defense take you. Right? When you look at the Dallas Cowboys play, I can almost tell you if it's a pass play where they're going to go with the football based on just the coverage of the defense. This is a more free-flowing type offense. I think he also did a good job just hitting the check down. Like, this offense isn't going to ask Sam Darnold to be the best quarterback in the game, right? He's going to ask him just to make good decisions and to learn from your mistakes last year, those last 2 games where you turned the football over and just didn't look great. So what do I like about Sam Darnold is that he has a good feel for sitting receivers down in space. And obviously it helps if you have Justin Jefferson over there. You have JSN here. You need one more guy, and you need your tight ends to step up too.
What does Sam need in terms of personnel that they could add immediately? Because, Bump, the number one thing I always saw is, look, he folds under pressure. And you saw that, and you had the stats on the pressure that he was facing late in the season. Geno was one of the most pressured quarterbacks in football.
Yep.
I'm nervous about that aspect of it.
Yeah. It's he's not the most mobile quarterback. So what do you do to a quarterback who isn't going to be moving around like that? You send him. You fire away. Send those missiles at him. So that's something that obviously you can help take care of. And how you do that with max protection, that's something that Kubiak likes to do. You keep your tight ends in. You keep your running back in the backfield, and you max protect. So that's something that you can do. But when you max protect, you lose options on the outside. So you need receivers who can win. JSN can win on the outside or the inside. I think he's a good route runner. But you also need somebody else to take some pressure off of JSN and the quarterback stretching the football field. Could you imagine if DK was still here and you got Sam Darnold? We would have felt so much better about this situation. I still feel good about Sam Darnold. I think he was the best available option for these guys if you're not trying to address it in the draft. So, yeah, he's going to need some help. Like he's not a perfect player. There are no perfect players, but he's not elite of the elite, but I think that he is definitely above average from that last year, right? He's got to put a couple years together.
What becomes another fundamentally important thing for Seattle to support Darnold? My mind immediately goes to the run, but I mean, it feels like the best way to get him to succeed is to do what John Schneider wants to do, which is reestablish that. How do you do that?
Run that football and get some tight ends who can block, man. You need some old school type of tight ends, right? I think A.J. Barner can be the new school type with some old school mixed in him, but you just have to protect him, and you have to give him built-in outlets, right? Layer your route combinations, which we're going to see with Kubiak. Always have an outlet. I think quarterbacks, when they know that they are protected, so you keep your tight ends in and your running back, or you just have a built-in hot route, they're going to be good to go, at least have the opportunity to be good to go. And here's what I'm interested in. How much has Sam Darnold grown over the past 8 months? Because I'm looking at his numbers over the past few years. 57% completion with the Jets, then the 61, then a 59, a 59, a 58, a 60 last year, 66, threw for 35 touchdowns last year, still threw 12 interceptions. What is he going to take from Minnesota and bring over here? And how is Kubiak going to tailor his offense around his strengths and his weaknesses? He's not a finished product, and I think that people are getting my excitement mixed up with a real analysis that I'm not saying this guy is a finished product, but I'm saying that he gives you the best option off of what was out there. Unless you want to roll with a rookie quarterback, which I wouldn't suggest at this point because of what we've been talking about. There's talent on this team. There's talent. You got to protect him, get him some tight ends, but defensively, they will be able to support him, and he can support the defense just by taking care of the ball.
It's a really good point, though. It's like, yeah, you're not getting a finished product. You're not even getting your future product. I would imagine Seattle still looks to the draft this year or next to kind of get a guy that they really want to develop, but you are getting an improved product. I really like that point. And it's honestly, I mean, it's ironically the same way I felt about Geno Smith, and it would kind of irk me when I'd see people go, well, he didn't play for this many years, or in 2014 he did this, and it's like, okay, but it's 6 years after the fact. This is a guy who for 6 years hasn't been sitting at home watching TV doing nothing. He's been in the NFL. He hasn't been starting games, but how much can you change in 6 years? Think of how you were 6 years ago. If I said you haven't learned anything since then, you'd laugh in my face. You'd be like, I absolutely have. So I think that you can easily take that away with Sam Darnold. That's such a good point, is the Sam Darnold that you're going to get here in Seattle. We have a lot of question marks about. I have no idea. And frankly, I don't think it's going to be the Sam Darnold you had in Minnesota because you have less support around you. However, I also don't think it's the Sam Darnold you saw with the Jets.
No.
That was like a 22-year-old Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk a lot about the Jets and what they don't do. You can name me one quarterback in the last 10 years that went to New York and had himself a great experience. It just doesn't happen that way. And then you go over, where'd he go? Then you go over to the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton ain't there no more. Then you go to San Francisco and you're the backup. Hey, listen, it's going to take some growth. He has to take another step in his career. But again, if we're talking about what was available, we're talking maybe Justin Fields, maybe Kirk Cousins, Sam Howell over here as well. And this also answers another question. People have been screaming for Sam Howell as well. If the Hawks were willing to go grab Sam Darnold, what do you think that means when they how they view Sam Howell? There's no disrespect to Sam. He's in the league, right? Has some talent, but they went and got Sam Darnold. So let's get off that Sam Howell stuff. I keep seeing that name pop up.
All right, there are a ton of headlines from around the NFL, a ton of signings, some names that we had been eyeing that are now off the market. We're going to talk about that at 12:30. At 12:45, we're going to take a look back. Was the writing on the wall for Geno and DK the entire time? At 1 p.m., Bryan Walters is going to join us. We're going to get back to Sam Darnold, some of the breaking news around the Seahawks, figure out what this offense might look like. I mean, it feels like they're building part of it from scratch right now. Before that, though, coming up next, just a few minutes away, NFL Network's Steve Wyche joins us for the latest on this breaking news.
Breaking news.
The Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $110.5 million contract with Seattle. Bump, your immediate reaction.
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. You know, a quarterback who fits this offense or what we think this offense is going to be. This was priority number one, was to get Sam Darnold.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
Looking for a smart way to improve your home comfort without breaking the bank? 2 words, heat pump. John Curley here. Upgrade to Home Comfort Alliance Heat Pump and get efficient heating in the winter and cooling in the summer in one unit. Heat pumps use less energy and are environmentally friendly. Plus, enjoy 18 months, same as cash financing, and up to 15% off all heat pumps and air conditioning systems through March. Home Comfort Alliance for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Making fresh produce and food affordable and accessible to all is a mission Safeway is deeply committed to. G. Scott here. Your local Safeway has all the great benefits that SNAP-eligible families love, plus exclusive savings. Right now, save 50% on Fresh Pass memberships, plus get a monthly $5 credit, free unlimited delivery, $10 of free produce, and double rewards. Check out your Safeway For You app for all details and savings, or visit Safeway.com/SNAP for details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
3 days after trading Geno Smith to the Raiders, the Seahawks have found their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Seattle has signed former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100.5 million deal, about $33 million per year, with $55 million guaranteed. The Seahawks over the weekend also re-signed defensive tackle Jarran Reed and have reportedly signed Ernest Jones to a 3-year extension.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. NFL Network Steve Wyche joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Steve, we are so happy to have you with us because we just got some breaking news not 15 minutes ago about Sam Darnold reportedly signing with the Seattle Seahawks. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think it was expected once they traded Geno Smith that this would be the route to take. I think you've heard about every NFL reporter and everything kind of link Sam Darnold there because of Darnold's ties to Clint Kubiak, the new OC. When they were together in San Francisco, we saw how well Darnold played in that scheme last year in Minnesota. And with Seattle kind of remaking its offense, this seemed like the perfect fit. And what they got him for, 3 years, $100 million, probably a lesser contract than what Geno Smith is going to get down with Las Vegas. So it seems like it's a step Seattle was planning on doing all the way around once they got into the trade talks to get rid of Geno Smith. No surprise now that it's Sam Darnold.
See, if we're getting some mixed reviews on our text lines about this signing of Sam Darnold, and people naturally want to point to the final 2 games of the season last year where he struggled, and he kind of finally came crashing down. Everyone was waiting for it. What do you think about that? This is his season overall. How much emphasis do you put on the last 2 games of the season?
Well, I don't think you can ignore it just because it was the final 2 games, but what it did was rip the scab off of his previous 3 years when he played a lot. You know, we saw a lot of that type of production when he was with the Jets, you know, when he got pressure. He saw a ghost, so to speak, to use the terminology. But you also can't overlook how he played in those previous games. I mean, Sam Darnold has always been an incredibly gifted player, right? He can run, he can throw it. He's got unbelievable tools. And so I think that is what Seattle is looking at and not those 2 games. But to me, Seattle can't overlook those 2 games in terms of they've got to get him some protection. They have got to upgrade that offensive line because no quarterback is going to thrive the way they want it to thrive without improving that aspect of the offense.
They have a ton of cap space now to be able to do that. Obviously, not as much with Sam, waiting on the actual cap hit numbers for this year, but still money to add in free agency for the line. Is this a weaker free agent class, average, when it comes to the offensive line? What are you seeing?
Yes, it's not a great – that's the thing. I mean, they have the money to spend, but you have to spend it wisely. And you don't just go out and sign a player to sign a player. And this is where they've got to figure out what they want to do with this type of scheme. They're going to run the same scheme that the Niners run, that the Vikings run. So it's, you know, they've got to be careful on what they do. And I think that's why they've harvested so much draft capital as well with these trades. So I think it's important for them, you know, to understand, go the right direction personnel-wise, and then coach them up.
Yeah, that's I like the offense. Oh, sorry, go for it, Steve. Nope, still there?
I'm here, guys.
All right,
Sorry about that. There's some Bluetooth issues, but I'm good.
No worries, no
You're
worries.
good.
I like this offense with Sam Darnold because I feel like it gives him like a way out, right? You establish the run, you have built-in hots, but when you look at JSN, what do you think that connection can be? Because he was supported in Minnesota, right? You got Justin Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison over there. It starts with JSN. What do you think that combo can be like?
Well, I mean, it could be fantastic, but they've got to get him some other help, on the outside. I mean, JSN was able to do some of the things he was able to do because coverages were rolling to DK and certain things with Tyler Lockett as well. So I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is an emerging star. He's a type of player who's going to beat double teams from time to time, but, you've got to open up your offense in ways, where any receiver, as great as Justin Jefferson is, if you've got no other option, teams are not going to let one player beat them. So I do think the potential connection between Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith-Njigba could be fantastic. And I do think John Schneider will go about getting him some help at wide receiver in free agency and in the draft. And remember, guys like Amari Cooper are still out there, veteran players who can route people up. I mean, so there are opportunities to build that receiving core.
Steve, one of the top questions we've been getting from fans is, well, who do they draft? Do they look at the draft when it comes to quarterback? Because I think a lot of fans do see Sam much like they saw Geno, which is a short-term answer. And maybe that's not fair to Sam, but people are constantly looking to see who the next guy is going to be. This is a weird class. We obviously know a ton about Cam and Sanders as well, but behind them, is there a name that's intriguing to you?
Well, I mean, there's a Jalen Milrose, right, who runs this type of scheme, who ran this type of scheme, kind of an RPO stretch zone scheme. Jackson Dart, some of those guys that are considered, second round, mid round type of picks. I don't know if John Schneider thinks he's going to find the next Russell Wilson. Again, this is scheme specific. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about running that kind of Niners Shanahan type of scheme. Because that's what this is with a touch of McVay and things like that. So, it's going to be hard to see, but I don't think anything they've done precludes them from drafting a quarterback. I don't think they're going to package some of that draft capital that they got to move up necessarily to try to get to Shedeur Sanders or something like that and do what the Falcons did last year and take Michael Penix after paying Kirk Cousins in free agency. I don't see that being part of the move, but I would fully expect them to draft a quarterback at some point.
What do you think the situation is going to be like for Geno in Las Vegas? You're going over with Pete Carroll. Sounds like he's going to ask for more than what the Hawks gave Sam Darnold. You got Bowers over there, Jacoby Myers. What do you think realistic expectations are for those dudes?
Well, I mean, look, the realistic expectation is, first off, they play in a division that also has Denver, which is on the uptick, the Chargers on the uptick, and the Chiefs, who've been the standard. So they can improve. Pete's going to get them going. I mean, the one thing they haven't had there in a head coach is that optimistic guy who comes in with a plan and how to get things done quickly. So Pete's not on a year away type schedule. They're going to try to come in and get some personnel, get some structure in the building. They've got some talent on that roster, not elite talent, but enough talent to compete. If they get some pieces, again, another wide receiver to add to that, to get into that run game. The fact now that they still have that sixth pick, they've got their quarterback in place. If they can get an Ashton Genty or get some running backs in there, that offense will stabilize. They've got some players on defense. They've got to get a couple more. But keeping Patrick Graham as their defensive coordinator, that continuity is going to be huge because they showed some things defensively, if they stay healthy, where they can be pretty good and compete. So we'll see how Geno does. I think he does bring some stability. Is he their long-term answer? We'll see. But you saw in Seattle, when he was protected, he was a damn good quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Steve, I've got kind of a weird question for you. Would you say what Seattle's doing is a rebuild, or do you think it's a little more complicated than that?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell. I think it is a little bit more complicated. It might be more of a retooling because this is a team that won 10 games last year. To me, wasn't far away.
Right.
So maybe they feel that way, but maybe they feel, again, with what they're doing offensively with a new OC, this is the type of quarterback they need. They can get types of wide receivers they need. Whoever comes in as a wide receiver, you got to block. That's part of what the scheme is. You got to be able to go in there and dig guys out, outside linebackers and strong safeties out. So maybe this is just kind of a refit to an engine that they think still has got a lot of miles on it.
Does the Sam Darnold acquisition change the way you think the Hawks will approach the draft?
Not really. Not really. I mean, I think more so the trading of DK Metcalf may change a little bit before that, because now they clearly have to prioritize getting a wide receiver, maybe not with the first pick, but if someone is there, if McMillan from Arizona just happens to be sitting there at 18, you can't overlook that. I mean, he's a hell of a player, right? He's somebody who can come in and help you. So, but I think that adjusts things a little bit more, but they really do have to prioritize the offensive line. That's got to be their number one priority through free agency trades and the draft the rest of the way.
Yeah, no doubt. We were talking about it after every single game, with the lone exception being the second game against Arizona, where we had positive things to say. And the fact that was the only one, and I remember it. Steve, what's your general impression of John Schneider as a GM? What do you think about him?
He's got a good track record. They played in some Super Bowls, so I think he's good at roster building. I mean, I know he did part of that in conjunction with Pete Carroll, but you just look at the number of Pro Bowlers and guys who've played well and some of the risk that he's taken. Now, has he nailed every draft? No, but not every general manager has, and he's often been picking at the back end of the draft. Now he's kind of at the midway point. Like I said, last year was a 10-win team. So, they had the same amount of wins, the same record as the Rams. They just lost out the division because of tiebreakers. So I think John's got a plan. I don't think he goes into anything just kind of rolling the dice. So I think he's got a plan of what they want to do. I think he works in conjunction with the head coach and with the coordinators, and they try their best to execute it. Just depends on what their cap structure is and where they're picking and things like that.
How big is this moment for John? I'm trying to be in the moment, and stay here. But I also look at this situation and feel like if it doesn't work out with Sam Darnold, I'm not saying his seat will be hot, but it'll kind of define that era after Pete Carroll. How big do you think this is for John?
I think you nailed it. I think this is a huge offseason for John. I mean, to trade away a starting quarterback off of a 10-win team when there's quarterback uncertainty there, I think is a big risk. To trade away a stud young wide receiver in his athletic prime, that is a risk. So you better have a plan in place to not only replace, a top shelf talent like DK Metcalf, but he's a young player. It's not a short-term fix. It's something where you've got to replace some of that talent that's going to sustain a level of excellence that you just gave up. So I think this is a big offseason for John.
Is there a team you can think of that you remember them kind of resetting? And it doesn't have to be in the same way. Like, it could have been a team that had a number one overall pick, but where you just thought, you know what, they refocused their energy on something else and did it the right way and just successfully were able to turn things around?
Well, I think we saw Washington do it last year.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, there have been teams that have done it in the recent past. Now it's a lot of it's come with a regime change, like we saw in Washington. But it can happen pretty quickly. I mean, we saw it happen in Houston, right? They kept the same general manager, Nick Caserio. They hired DeMeco Ryans. They get a high pick and nail it with C.J. Stroud, and bang, right? They're one of the better teams in the NFL. So it can happen quickly if you, one, get the right quarterback, and two, you have cultural stability, which can happen very quickly. Again, what happened in Houston, I mean, that team was the epitome of dysfunction. And just in 1 year, by getting the quarterback, by getting DeMeco Ryans, and getting a staff in place to kind of set the tone, and then adding some veterans while also nailing the draft. I mean, they have banged the draft the past 2 or 3 years. That has established them as a team that can win now and win for years to come. So, yeah, it can happen.
It sounded like Geno is asking for about $45 million. Are you surprised that his asking price is higher than what the Hawks were able to get Sam Darnold for?
No, I mean, I think that's why he's out of there. That's kind of what he was expecting, and they didn't want to go there. And that's why Sam Darnold was out of Minnesota. He might have been asking for the type of money that he received, and they didn't want to go there. But they've got a plan B in J.J. McCarthy. They established that last year when they drafted him out of Michigan. So No, not surprised at all. When you see what quarterbacks are getting paid now, that's going to be the asking price or something in that range for quarterbacks. We'll see, Brock Purdy's going to get a higher number than that. And Geno was probably asking for less than what Brock Purdy's going to get paid. So, that's just kind of what it is. It's economics 101 when it comes to salary cap management.
Hey, Steve, last one for me. I feel like some of the questions about the offense are just these big questions that none of us really have answers to, whereas the defense looked really solid. We're able to take a massive step forward last year under Mike Macdonald, and I think they very much want to continue building there. What's your expectation for Macdonald in year 2, specifically with this defense?
To continue to get better. I mean, once they got Ernest Jones in there to solidify things, at that off-ball linebacker spot, and then they just re-signed him. I think it's going to continue to get better. They've got talent on the back end. They've got some players up front who really fit that scheme, just tough, rugged, bigger players. They have to continue to add talent to that at all 3 levels, I think. But defensively, they're solid. I mean, are they elite yet? No. But that's not to say they won't get there pretty soon.
He's NFL Network's Steve Wyche, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Steve, we are sure you have a very busy day and a very busy week ahead of you, so we will let you go. We appreciate your time, though. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Have a good one. All right, let's get to, do you want to do headline rewrites or react to a little bit of additional news? Let's see here. Because I'm...
What you got?
Well... Let's take 2 seconds to react to some news because I want to be able to update. I know we're going to get to some of it with NFL headlines, but because I'm still getting questions on the text line about a couple quarterbacks, Justin Fields it looks like, Curtis, I don't know if it's been confirmed.
They've agreed to terms. Nothing is official today until Wednesday.
On a deal with the Jets. I know you mentioned it earlier, like feeling sorry for Justin Fields, but Justin Fields out of here. And you have earlier this morning Aaron Rodgers being linked with the Steelers. So a couple names that we already know aren't coming to Seattle now off the board, but the league kind of starting to take shape. I don't know why anyone would be mad about Sam to Seattle. Like, I know that some people, maybe if you really wanted Fields, you're upset.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know, if a single person wanted Rodgers, you're upset following the news of those two. Am I wrong in thinking, I don't think John Schneider thinks he's going to win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm dead wrong. But, it's like an Alex Smith situation to me.
I think he looks at Sam Darnold and imagines a world where he has another wideout, maybe another tight end, in an offensive line, and looking at what they were able to do in Minnesota and saying to himself, well, this division isn't as tough as the North was. It could be, though, real quick because of, obviously, moves that are being made. But I think that he's looking at building in a way that does not require Sam Darnold to throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns.
Right.
Like, he's looking at a Kubiak offense that is going to run the football, will slow the game down for the defense, and saying, we might be able to make a push with this guy if I support him the right way. So going into the playoffs, I think a lot of people looked at Sam Darnold as potentially winning a playoff game or two. And I think that's the goal. The goal is always to win a Super Bowl, but I think right now the goal is to, okay, let's get in the playoffs, get to the dance, and maybe win a game and just keep building and stacking years, year after year. You got 3 years to try to figure this out. So I think he's not ruling it out. But I also think that he understands that he needs to be supported correctly. If he's not supported correctly, then you'll have the same year you had last year.
Well, and if he's not supported correctly, the same thing would have happened for a rookie quarterback you would have thrown out. The same thing would have happened for Sam Howell if you would have thrown him out there. Like, I agree with Steve that when Geno wasn't under so much pressure, he was a damn good quarterback. Yeah. And I think that he's going to be behind, not an elite, but a better offensive line in Vegas. Obviously, they're still figuring things out, new coach, new coordinator, but I think he's going to have a good year with the Raiders. I don't know what to expect from Sam, but I think that the direction of this team has fundamentally changed. Again, it's not a rebuild, but it feels like a reset on offense, and it's a very intentional one now. I think plan A was DK and Geno sign team-friendly deals. Mm-hmm. We can hang on to those guys and stay competitive because I don't want to win 2 games this season. It's not worth number 1 overall because it usually costs you your job. But I don't know, man. It feels like this is an intentional move to rebuild with someone that can kind of help you win now, but isn't nearly as expensive and that you're not as committed to.
It allows you to make moves. I mean, Geno asking for 40 to 45, you're saving yourself roughly, $10 million essentially by making this move. And you're doing it with the guy who gave you enough hope to believe that you might be able to tap into something. Again, nothing's guaranteed. He could come out next year and have a mediocre season, and we're looking at this deal. And I don't think you can be mad at this deal. $33 million a year for a quarterback. Was he a Pro Bowl quarterback who got a team to the playoffs? Did he fold the last couple of weeks? Yeah, for sure. Didn't play his best ball. But he gives you a chance at a reduced price that will allow you to make moves and start to build. So $33 million a year, you should not be mad at this deal.
From the 808, Sam Darnold, yippee. I think it's sarcasm. I'd rather give Sam Howell a shot.
I'm not even commenting on that. I told y'all stop saying that. Stop it.
Hey, look.
No disrespect to Sam Howell, but come on.
If Sam Howell was better than Geno, he'd be playing, and they would have saved money with Geno. They would have traded Geno before he entered the final year of his deal because they could have gotten a higher draft pick if he still was under more control.
Yeah, listen, he had his opportunities, and there are things that we don't see the day-to-day. Like, we don't see his command in the huddle. We don't see how he is on the whiteboard. If they felt he were ready to go, they would just say, okay, we already have our guy. So I think you just have to trust the coaches and their evaluations with this one. Sam Howell had some opportunities to instill some confidence in these guys, and he just hasn't done enough. Is it officially done for him? No, who knows? You know, he might go somewhere else, or he might develop this year, and you feel better about him moving forward. But if he were ready to go, this deal doesn't happen.
This feels like a Mike McDonald / Kubiak system like it should be, says another listener. Run the ball, great defense, redefine the quarterback position. How does the quarterback look in your mind in a Kubiak offense on a McDonald team?
Less stressed out. Less weight of the world on your shoulders. We have to go back, and yes, Geno Smith threw some horrible interceptions, but man, he threw some good passes as well. And it always seemed like he was stressed out. It always seemed like he needed to make the impossible throw. In a Kubiak offense, the run game is going to help you set it up. Here's the thing, though. You got to be able to run the dang ball. You got to get some offensive linemen who are good east to west, who can get up to that second level and go. Because the one knock we hear about this offense all the time is 3rd and 8 ain't great. You know, when everyone knows you're going to throw the football, it gets a bit tough. And that's one thing that I did respect, or a few things I respected about Sam Darnold. When I was breaking down film of the Minnesota Vikings, when they were in shotgun, 90% of the times they threw the football. Everyone knew he was going to throw the football, and he still made some great throws. So, but I think this offense will take some pressure off of the quarterback. That's why I was excited to see Geno win. I get to see Geno play football and not look stressed out every single down, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, with Grubb, it was just a little too predictable. There was a lot on Geno's shoulders. Everything was out of shotgun. Man. It was just like there was a certain point where people were like counting snaps under center because they just were comparatively rare. You asked Steve a great question. In fact, he said great question, which just killed me. And it was about the pressure that John Schneider's facing. He's drawn a lot of attention to himself by making these moves. And it's clear he's betting on himself to fix this team. And while my own expectations if Geno had been re-signed and if DK had been re-signed, I'd say, okay, expectation is playoffs.
Yep.
How do you build on last year? My expectation has changed. But I now need to see from this team a draft class payoff. I now need to see from this team a free agent class that has additions you feel proud of. Like, I need to see a foundation.
Then the next move is evaluation of the offensive line. You got to get that right because over the past few years, they just haven't been able to do that. Your tackles are good, but that's the next big move. How do you change that? And I don't know who the scouts are over there and what their relationship is like or if they've made moves or not. But that's the next big thing. You got to be able to figure out how to protect this quarterback. The scheme will help you with that. But that's the one place that they've missed. We've seen them grab receivers. We've seen them grab DBs, D linemen, linebackers. O-line is the one place where they struggled.
All right, let's take a break from the Seahawks to take a look at all the moves happening on a very hectic day in the NFL. That's coming your way next.
breaking news.
The Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $110.5 million contract with Seattle. Bump, your immediate reaction.
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. You know, a quarterback who fits this offense and what we think this offense is going to be. This was priority number one, was to get Sam Darnold.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
Well, this is pretty fun for me. Normally, Shannon O'Kelly and I are talking physical therapy, but today we are talking First Mark Insurance. You made the call to First Mark. You took the challenge. Why?
Brock, I was looking for a local agency that I could align with similar values, and they've helped us here at IRG. They shop different plans. They find the best plan for you, the best price, the best coverage, great customer service, and great connectivity.
Did they save you any money along the way?
Absolutely, they saved us money. Obviously, here at IRG, I have several needs in the insurance industry, and they look at those needs A to Z, and they find out what kind of coverage you need, what is the best coverage, at what cost, and they're always looking to save money. And again, it's all about providing my company, IRG, great customer service.
Well, Shannon and IRG, they took the challenge. Molly and I, we took the challenge. Are you confident that your business is getting the very best when it comes to your insurance needs? If not, take the First Mark Challenge today, and it's totally free. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com, your teammate that goes to work for you. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest, same as cash 12-month financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com to save double today.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Our durable, weather-resistant siding keeps your home warm and protected all season long.
And don't forget, we also offer roofing, windows, decking, and gutters. Maximize your savings. Combine 2 or more projects like roofing and siding and unlock additional discounts. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free siding estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we're going to start with the Bills giving Josh Allen a brand new contract after his MVP season. It's worth $330 million. It includes an NFL record $250 million guaranteed, which not only makes him one of the league's highest paid players, but also the most guaranteed money. It's him, Deshaun Watson at $230, massive gap, and then everyone else.
And he deserves it. He deserves it, man. He did a lot with a little last year, and the Bills have to lock this man down. So now you do that, you give him $250 guaranteed. Go get him some receivers now. Mm-hmm. Go help. Go build around him. But no, this had to be done. I'm happy for Josh. He's earned it. Won the MVP. Won MVP last year. Good season, just fell a little short.
Basically, they added 2 years to his current just a longer extension, 2 years to his current contract, keeps him with the Bills through 2030. The Bills, prior to making this move and a couple other moves that they made, were in a tough salary cap situation. And I think that's also something you have to consider is when you are a contending team, a true contender, it's kind of like max out the credit card, do whatever you need to do. Like if we're going to be a Super Bowl favorite next year and we need to create cap space this year in order to do something, even if we're paying for it later, or even if we're paying Josh Allen a ton of guaranteed money to be able to do it, then do it. It's pedal to the metal for that team. Okay, next story. Myles Garrett, speaking of a lot of money, and the Browns reached an agreement on a record-setting extension. This is $40 million, correct, per year for Myles Garrett, making him the highest non-paid quarterback in NFL history. The two sides end up staying together, Bump.
Yeah, Jimmy took the call finally.
Barely. Open the office door.
Yeah,
and let
so
him
you know
in.
what, Myles, come on, let's go ahead and get this done. That was your best bet. You got to lock this young man down. I was hoping they let him go, though, because he's not going to win a Super Bowl there in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. But it shows that money talks. And we knew that if you just toss the right number at somebody, especially a guy like Myles Garrett, he's going to want to stay. He is arguably the best defensive player the Cleveland Browns have ever had over there. It needed to get done. So good for him. I was hoping he goes somewhere else. So I hate to see his career wasted over there in Cleveland.
It's so weird that Cleveland, highest, prior to Allen, highest paid quarterback, not in terms of average annual salary, that's still Dak Prescott, but the most guaranteed money prior to Josh Allen, and now the highest paid non-quarterback. And it's like, what do you... one of those things is amazing, a Hall of Famer, and the other contract isn't working at all.
Go get a quarterback.
You have to.
Shador or Cam. Right, they got the number 2 pick, the Browns. Mm-hmm. Go get him.
Justin Fields has a new home, going from the Steelers to the New York Jets. He is the new starting quarterback out there. I felt, and the reason a lot of people felt that Aaron Rodgers had a chance to really succeed isn't because they thought he had a ton left in the tank. It's because the Jets had so many weapons. They still do. Yeah. Could we see a career resurgence for Justin Fields?
You could, but history says you're not, right? The Jets don't develop over there. But I hope that he does grow. You got Breece Hall over there still, Garrett Wilson, Lazard over there as well defensively. You got the Williams brothers. You have Sauce. On paper, it looks great. what type of offense are you going to run? He needs to be in like a Kubiak type of offense, Justin Fields, so you move that pocket for him, allow him to feel the flow of the game. He played some decent football with the Steelers last year, but the fact that Russell Wilson lost 4 games in a row to end that season and you didn't see Justin Fields on the football field, what does that tell you?
Yes.
It means that he's struggling with some things. So just nurture this young man, get him around the right quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, and let's see what he does.
It's such a good point. In a must-win game in the postseason, when Russell Wilson had a bad first half, this team still thought, put him back out there. We got to do it. The Panthers and J.C. Horn have agreed to a 4-year extension worth up to $100 million with $70 million in guarantees. J.C. now making $25 million per year, the most of any defensive back in NFL history.
I love when players get paid. I really do, man. I'm happy for Horn. I'm happy for Allen. Happy for Myles Garrett. Hard work should be rewarded. Performance should be rewarded, and that's what you're seeing over here with Horn, one of the best corners in the game right now. And I don't think a lot of people really realize who he is and what he does. So good for him. And let's see if they sign some more to help that quarterback over there.
What if Devin Witherspoon next offseason strolls into John Schneider's office and says, I've been talking to my friend JC. I'm thinking $26.5 million, John.
If he can repeat what he's done the past couple of years,
worth it?
He would, yeah, definitely. He's one of the best nickels in the game right now. A $175 soaking wet, but still gets after the quarterback. It's more than just his play, right? You see the intensity that he plays with, but it's the emotion that he brings to the game too. He loves playing football. Those are the type of guys that you want to pay. So if he has a year like he has the last couple of seasons, yeah, you're gonna have to pay him.
DJ Reed, pretty easy to root for, former Seahawk.
Yep.
He's getting another nice payday, signing for 3 years and $48 million with the Lions.
And I love his story. Junior college kid out of California, gets picked up by the Seahawks off of the 49ers practice squad, and he held it down over there with the Jets for a while. Love the story, man. If you've ever met DJ Reed, you understand just how much love I got for him, man. Just a underdog, grinding type of guy. I love to see him get paid.
Well, and it's like the whole story starts with the 49ers like him, but they think they can slip him through waivers, right? Like no one's paying attention to him, and then the Seahawks pluck him right out of there. And they probably didn't even think it would work out the way it did because he ended up starting because of injury. I'm blanking on who it was, though. Was it Ahkello Witherspoon? Was that the same season?
I think it was.
Some big NFC West moves. I'm just going to run through all three. The Rams are signing Devontae Adams. Former 49ers safety Talanoa Hufanga is signing with the Broncos, which is like a good one. But the Cardinals are signing Super Bowl champ Josh Sweat to a 4-year, $76 million deal. Start wherever, go wherever.
Stay out of the NFC West. Got Devontae coming over here, Josh Sweat coming over there. Happy for Hufanga. That's another good story there. A guy who's coming back from an ACL injury. I think it was a later draft pick. But no, man, Josh Sweat is a beast, man. And you knew that Philly wasn't going to be able to keep the whole band together. Once you start winning Super Bowls, you start making plays, and you get after Pat Mahomes the way you did in the Super Bowl, things are going to be moved around. The only good thing about this is that Hufanga is gone. He is over there with the Broncos.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for him as well. But, yeah, stay out of the NFC West.
Credit to Diana Rossini, who's been on top of so much of this stuff, obviously, over the weekend. But when the Myles Garrett trade rumors were, like, at their peak, she was like, I'm telling you, keep an eye on the Eagles because there are a couple defensive stars that are not coming back, that they do not expect to re-sign. So it seems like they're totally, loaded up and ready to go, but they have their own question marks. And lo and behold, Josh Sweat ends up leaving for the NFC West. Khalil Mack has a new home. He is returning to the Chargers. Oh, just kidding, not a new home. He is returning to the Chargers on a 1-year deal. I read it in Chicago for a minute, despite reporting that earlier in the show.
Khalil Mack, this is where he is in his career. He's going to get 1-year deals. He's, 10 years at least he's been in the league now? Man, I want to say. It's happened quickly.
He's one of the players that makes me feel old.
It's happened quickly out of the University of Buffalo. Get your bag. How long has he been in the league?
He was drafted in his rookie season was 2014.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
10 years that quickly. But good, you have to keep him there. Bosa's gone. You have to keep a veteran edge rusher over there. Again, more love for players getting paid. Good job.
Another player that makes me feel old?
Who's that?
Tyler Lockett. The exact same thing, because you remember when they were drafted, you remember a rookie season, you remember when it was like, look at this young kid. So promising.
Young whippersnapper.
Next up, former Falcons center Drew Dahlman is signing with the Bears on a 3-year, $42 million deal. He joins Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson as upgrades along Chicago's offensive line. They are making moves, spending money.
They doing it. You got to protect your asset, man. I think Caleb is going to have a good year this year. I think, and the Bears are doing what they're supposed to do. You saw the way that young man was running for his life, the most sacked quarterback in the game last year, but still didn't turn the football over at a high clip. And I can respect that. If you're getting pressured the way that Caleb was getting pressured, you would expect him to be well into double digits when it comes to turning the football over. That was not the case.
I know that some fans have been eyeing veteran free agent receivers, hoping that the Seahawks can add to that group, but Chris Godwin is not going to be one of them. He's re-signing with the Buccaneers on a 3-year deal worth up to $66 million. They're good at retaining those guys.
Yeah, that was what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But, go ahead and hook up with Mike Evans and see if you guys could run it back.
Why were you hoping for Godwin? Like, his profile as a player, did you just think, like, they could really use that?
The speed.
Yeah.
On the outside, speed, big target. Again, you need someone to hold safeties accountable. You want the safety to start at 12 yards and finish at 25, 30 yards down the field because they feel the speed, something that DK Metcalf did for Jason.
Is that something that if the Seahawks were like, Bump, what one trait should we focus on with a wide receiver in this draft? Would you be like, I am telling you this Kubiak offense?
Say burners is what I would say. Get you a fast receiver.
Was the writing on the wall for Geno and DK this entire time? Looking back at some very interesting sound that at one point was just kind of news. At one point, we interpreted completely differently, but in hindsight, you will be shocked how many of these cuts kind of predict what was going to happen. That's next.
Breaking news.
The Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $110.5 million contract with Seattle. Bump, your immediate reaction.
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. You know, a quarterback who fits this offense and what we think this offense is going to be. This was priority number one, was to get Sam Darnold.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And if you love animals, you're part of our world. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
The madness tips off next week, and with it comes your chance to win the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks, presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at MazdaofEverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop MazdaofEverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Was the writing on the wall the entire time when it comes to Geno and DK? Now, we talked with Dan Graziano earlier in the show, and he said, I don't actually think the Seahawks expected to move on from Geno. I think they were hoping that they could both agree on a number, and then they kind of had to switch gears once Geno requested a trade, and they couldn't. But hearing back to some of this, listening back to some of the sound, it sure seems like these guys were all more willing to move on from each other than we anticipated. For instance, this is from Geno Smith's Week 18 post-game press conference.
I'm telling you, man, this team is heading in the right direction, man. This team is on its way, and that's with or without me. These guys in this locker room, these coaches, this organization, outstanding organization, and I believe in it. I believe the best of the best is going to happen for this team, and I just want to continue to fight with these guys.
All really good things. Certainly seems open to the idea he might not be here.
Nah, I think that's just, he's just talking right there.
Yeah.
I think that he had intentions on being here for the next several seasons. He's looking at DK. I think he understood that Tyler might be gone, but no, I think that things just happened fairly quickly, and I think we might be digging into that one a bit much.
Oh, we're digging into all of these. These are all tin hat. Okay. How about this one? And Curtis has an argument about this one. It's from the John Schneider show last February when he was asked about Pete guys versus John's guys.
We never felt like, okay, it's my guy or your guy. You know what I mean? Like that was never, it was never like that. I heard something this morning where it was like, I forget what I was listening to. And we were like, well, Geno was really Pete's guy or something like, nah. Every time they come in the building, they're our guy. Like that's never been an issue, and I don't see that going forward at all. At the end of the day, you do have to make a decision. And so Pete was, while I understand what you're saying, like from a
the buck stops with you.
Contractual standpoint, yes. Now the buck, yes, you're right. And the difference there really truly is like, okay, well, you know, are we still making the best decision for the Seahawks? And that's what guides us all the time.
Well, I mean, Curtis said that he's been thinking this over, and like maybe in hindsight, Geno was Pete's guy.
Because, I mean, if Geno wasn't Pete's guy, he probably wouldn't be in Vegas right now.
Bump.
I think that initially someone has to start the conversation about a player. And Pete or John are the ones who strike up that conversation. I feel like Pete Carroll wanted Geno and was Geno's guy. Now, he becomes their guy, but there's someone who has to initiate the conversation and put the image out there of maybe having Geno as the quarterback or maybe drafting DK. Someone has to initiate the conversation. That's when they become your guy. Now, once they have the uniform on, they're going to OTAs and training camp, now it's everyone's guy. But I for sure believe that Geno was Pete's guy.
Okay, I do too. We're both on board for that one. Then Jordan Babineau in January said he didn't think that Geno or DK would be back in 2025.
Looking at potential and who the new offensive coordinator will be, that he's going to want someone, who can lead that offense. This will be, Geno's third offensive coordinator, if that were the case. I just see this team being young. And if you look at the history of what, Snyder has done with this franchise over his tenure, is he's always looked to get younger. Geno is a capable quarterback. I think he's still a starting quarterback. He had his best year as a pro this year. I just don't see him on the Seahawks roster the next season simply because they'll be looking to bring someone in to nurture and mature a young mind and something different at the quarterback position. So we'll see if I'm right again this year, but again, I'm only playing GM from afar.
Credit to Jordan.
Babs hit for this one. I remember when he came on the air and said it, I hit him up. Like, you really think that? I even called him last night, but I think he was out of town. He was asleep or something. And I go, man, who you been talking to?
Right.
Like, who do you know? But his logic makes complete sense. You got a new offensive coordinator. You want someone who can grow within this offense. And Jordan probably saw Geno as, this is as good as it gets. And they're going to want someone who they can mold. And Geno, there's not going to be too much molding. Geno is who he is at this point. Obviously, you can get rid of some interceptions and whatnot, but as far as him growing as a quarterback, I think he's done growing there.
Does Jordan's point make you think that they for sure draft a quarterback? Is there any doubt in your mind they draft a quarterback?
There is doubt in my mind.
Why?
Because how do they feel about Sam Howell? Are they going to bring him back and feel like he can be the guy there? There are just so many other things to do at this situation that you have your guy for at least 2 to 3 years. Support him by going out there and giving him the best offensive line that you can get. I think that should be the focal point. I would not be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they just run it back with Sam Howell and let Darnold do his thing.
Yeah, maybe it's the class too. It's like, well, you don't have it's so hard to go from last year, which was a historic class in terms of 6 guys taken in the first round to maybe 2, maybe 3. I know Jackson Dart has been mocked to the Steelers, but Who knows whether they take a young guy behind Rodgers or just stick with Rodgers for a year. I have no idea. Who knows if Seattle likes any of these guys? Maybe they take the approach of, we'll stick with Sam and just get better everywhere else.
That's what I think they're going to do. And I think that's what they can do. But I also feel like if you get to the point in the draft and there is a quarterback who's hanging around and all your other options at other positions are gone and it feels right, you go ahead and do that. But I think that is no longer a priority, drafting a quarterback in this draft. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Last one. Something Grant Cohn, who covers the San Francisco 49ers, saw on a plane to the Combine.
So I'm walking through first class, and I see Seattle Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald and Seattle Seahawks general manager John Schneider just sitting next to each other casually, going to the Combine like me. So I go to my seat, and coach, I have the money, but I just want to go coach this time. And I'm sitting there, we take off, and I notice this shorter, older gentleman with really white hair walking next to me. And he's trying to go to the bathroom, but the flight attendants are passing out beverages. So they tell him, sir, you're going to have to go back to your seat until we're done. It was Pete Carroll, flying coach. Apparently the Raiders don't quite have the funds to send him first class like the Seahawks do with their personnel. So Pete Carroll waited, as he was told, and then went back to first class, not to use the restroom, really, but to just stand in first class without a first class ticket. And he did that for an hour. He was talking to Mike Macdonald and John Schneider about God knows what. So Pete Carroll did that for about an hour and Clearly, the flight attendants knew who he was because they didn't bother him. If I had tried to do that, they would have tased me.
Two things. First thing, Pete Carroll, man of the people. Secondly, if I paid for a first-class ticket and a man was standing in the aisle next to me talking to his friend for an hour.
I doubt it was an hour.
No.
Ain't no way he's standing for an hour.
I'd be heated.
I'd be heated
I mean,
too.
I'd be eavesdropping to every word. If you talk around me, I'm eavesdropping. But I'd be like, sir, you need to go.
Yeah, maybe that was the start of here's the thing. You're always working. You're always inquiring. You're always asking questions about the future and trade possibilities or whatnot. Who knows? But let's be clear. Pete ain't standing in no aisle for an hour. He ain't doing that.
There's no way.
No.
There is no way.
No.
That Peter Clay Carroll stood in first class for an hour. It's just not possible. But maybe they were talking about Geno
Who knows?
and everything. Who knows? I would have I hope that the people around them had no idea what was happening and what anyone was talking about and were secretly privy to like really important information. Seahawks Radio Network analyst Bryan Walters joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Joining us here in the booth, Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill.
Julio being Julio is still going to matter, I think, more than anyone else you bring in. I think he can be a true difference maker, all-star MVP quality. I mean, we all know what his ceiling can be. And I'm actually really confident that he's going to have a big year. And because we have seen it in flashes where he has been among the best players in baseball.
Yeah.
Like the absolute best player that this game has to offer.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy zero down, zero payments, and zero interest, same as cash 12-month financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com to save double today.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at MuckleshootCasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
3 days after trading Geno Smith, the Seahawks found their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Seattle has signed former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100.5 million deal, about $33 million per year, with $55 million guaranteed. The Seahawks over the weekend also re-signed defensive tackle Jaron Reed. The team has confirmed that. They also reportedly signed Ernest Jones to a 3-year extension, that per ESPN's Brady Henderson.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Seahawks Radio Network analyst Bryan Walters joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. A busy weekend for the Seahawks, and we got more breaking news today. Bryan, we will get to the signing of Sam Darnold, but I'm actually going to start by asking what your reaction was to the first story that broke on Friday, that being this team deciding to trade Geno Smith.
Oh, man, how about that? I was I was a very big Geno Smith believer. I at least thought that he was going to be here this next season for sure. I didn't think there'd be any way they'd part with him. Well, shows what I know, I guess, and what goes on, what the organization's plans are. I've always liked Geno. I've always liked what he's done, given the situations he's been in. But, going through this, and you go through all what the Seahawks did and the options, what they got for him, and how they replaced him, I kind of love it. My feelings have definitely changed in that regard, because now, I know we want to talk about Geno, but going to Sam Darnold, you're getting a guy that's so much cheaper. I think depending on what Geno ends up signing for, it'll be $7 to $15 million cheaper, and you got a third-round draft pick, which you're probably going to end up using on a wide receiver now, because I don't know what's happening in that wide receiver room right now.
Hey, what's up, B? What do you say to the people who are disappointed in Sam Darnold being signed to the Seahawks? What's your evaluation of him, and what do you say to them?
I think Sam Darnold has been a very solid quarterback. I think he finally was in the right situation in Minnesota. I feel like too many people are out there and they try to make a quarterback seem like he can save the whole franchise all the time. So he's drafted to New York. He's in that situation, and he doesn't have a good 3 years in New York, but it's not always a quarterback's fault. I think quarterbacks have tons of talent that are wasted because of a franchise and how they handle certain situations with that. And then he went to Carolina, who was a bad team then too. And so he went from New York Jets to Carolina, and it's just one guy's not going to turn a program around. He went to Then you saw him go to San Francisco. He kind of backed up Brock Purdy, had a couple good games when he had to fill in for Brock Purdy. And then when he finally had the pieces with him, and this is what a lot of quarterbacks could say, Minnesota has all the weapons you need. You have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, the 1-2 punch there. Hawkinson is your tight end, and they had a good O-line. That's what a quarterback needs sometimes to shine, no matter who you are, no matter what. I mean, as obvious as that is. And he was finally given the pieces to the puzzle, and he showed what he can do. From everyone I've talked to who's worked with Sam Darnold and actually put time into him, he's a talent. He is. He's athletic. He's got a really, really strong arm. He's smart in the pocket. But he's also a big-time locker room guy. You won't find a guy who says anything bad about him. He's going to be that leader you need. And for that, I'm excited about it. I don't know. It's been such a fun 48 hours or whatever it's been for the Seahawks just going into next year. But I'm excited to where it's going, and I think Sam Darnold will be a great fit for Kubiak's system.
What does he need here to succeed that the Seahawks might not have? Meaning, what do they need to go figure out?
You need wide receivers. JSN can't do this alone. That's the glaring, the daunting thing I'm looking at right now with the wide receivers, and I'm hoping that John Schneider has a plan for this. And obviously, they know that they are very, very thin there with getting rid of DK. But so I'm thinking you'll probably draft 2 or 3 receivers in this draft class, even though it's a weak receiver draft class. Maybe they see that hidden gem that they know that they want, but that's the glaring need right now for me. And it's so funny how going into this offseason, it was always O-line. Oh, we need that interior O-line. We got to fix the guard. And then after last week, you're like, wow, we need a quarterback. We need wide receivers. We need an offensive line. The whole offense was just kind of taken apart, but they're working their way back now. So wide receivers, and obviously you need some protection for Sam Darnold, but I think with the thing is with the Kubiak system, and I still think the offensive line is better than what people think. I do. I think they were put in tough situations last season with Grubb and just kind of throwing the ball 40 times, 50 times a game where the defense can just peel back their ears and go. And I think that's tough on the offensive linemen, especially these young guys. But if you're put in a system where there is this kind of balance between run and pass and play action, all that, these defensive linemen can't just sit on the pass and just peel back and rush. There's got to be a little bit something to that. So I think the offensive line, maybe in our eyes and what we've talked about that they need to improve, I don't know if in the Seahawks organization they feel that exact same way. I think they can still develop some of these guys and put them in the right spot, the right situation to succeed.
Yeah, I think that's the hope, right? You maybe draft one, bring over a free agent offensive lineman, and then develop the guys because they've drafted a few offensive linemen over the past couple of years. What were your thoughts on DK going to the Steelers, and now it sounds like Aaron Rodgers is going to be there as well? Do you like that move for him?
As long as he's happy, I guess. I think DK has been a guy that, especially with the Seahawks, that you just feel like every single year you feel like they're trying to get rid of him. And so I'm actually kind of relieved that it finally happened. You don't have to. DK is a heck of a player. He's explosive. He's one of the most explosive receivers in the league as far as his physical attributes. But I just don't know if he was that guy that you really could count on, right? 4th down and 1. I think Bump, you and I talked about this on the golf course the other day. It's like 4th down and 1. And who you want your number 1 receiver to be a guy that is going to win on that inside, that slant, right? 4th and 1, boom, we got one-on-one press. You throw it to DK on a slant route, boom. DK wasn't ever that guy. You never felt confident he was going to do that. You got guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase around the league who are obviously the best of the best. That's all day. You're going to take a slant route on 4th down and 2, 4th down and 1, let him win and convert that thing. But DK, you never got that feel. And it's because he doesn't have the best hands. He's not the best route runner. Now, again, he's going to Pittsburgh where you got Pickens there too. So it's almost the same situation here where he's kind of a number 2 guy there. And I like him as a number 2 receiver. I think JSN's that number 1 guy here. I would have liked DK as a number 2 receiver because what he brings, but he got paid, and he got paid his $30 million a year is what he wanted. Seahawks weren't going to do that. I think he's going to do well in Pittsburgh because he's not that number 1 guy. He's going to get chances, and I don't know who's going to be throwing to him right now. I don't think Pittsburgh's worked out that quarterback problem yet, have they? Unless I missed something.
Aaron Rodgers.
The Jets.
Sounds like Aaron Rodgers is
that's
close.
Right, Rodgers. That's right, Rodgers. So, I mean, again, I don't even know how that'll be because I think some receivers last year were frustrated with Aaron Rodgers, right? Look at Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson seemed frustrated playing with Aaron Rodgers and what he brought. So, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's been such a fun little off season, and I do wish the best for DK. He was always just a fun player to watch, speed and just his like physical dominance that he could bring. But now it's time to move on. And second round pick for him, that's kind of what we thought. That was kind of best case scenario. I thought there was no chance they get a first rounder for him. I don't think I think teams can kind of see what we see in him, where he's just kind of a physically gifted guy and not necessarily a polished wide receiver like some of the others. So I like that they got a second rounder for him.
Yeah, speaking of that second rounder, the draft became infinitely more interesting for me. Like I just kind of expected prior to these two moves, this is a 10-win team that is going to, somehow find a way to extend Geno, extend DK, and then build on the offensive line and try to make a run. Now it feels like an entirely different landscape we're looking at. What's something you really want to see them accomplish with this draft?
Well, with this draft, I mean, honestly, I hope they just don't change. And as crazy as this sounds, because you can doubt what they drafted and who they drafted in the past, but like I just hope they don't change their strategy. I do like the John Snyder philosophy of just kind of drafting best available. You don't draft on team needs, and you just draft on the best athlete or guy that you think is the best football player at the time. And I think that's I like that. It's worked in the past. The Seahawks have been one of the top 5 organizations for the past since John Snyder's taken over as a general manager. So I think that is just a big thing to just stay true to your guns. And, but if I'm going to have a say in positions, I wouldn't be surprised if it's defensive heavy just because of Mike Macdonald. And this is it's not his first draft. I guess last year was his first draft, but after a full season as a head coach, kind of all the years prep going into it and all that, like this is his first real draft with the Seahawks. And he's going to try to have a say on, what kind of defensive guys he has. And then wide receiver. I'm just going to keep saying that wide receiver. You need depth. You need wide receivers, and you've got to, I think, if you draft 3 wide receivers, you have a chance on hitting on one of them, a better chance than if you just draft one receiver and hope he hits. So I think that's a daunting task because I don't know. I haven't really looked at the free agent. I feel like some wide receivers have gone off the free agent market, Devontae Adams, all that stuff. So I don't know if they could really fill in for missing DK now with a top level free agent wide receiver. So I think you just got to draft and hope you hit.
The tight end spot is going to be interesting in this offense, man. We saw a lot of 2-3 tight end sets when I'm watching film of the Kubiak offense. What do you think of the tight end room, and do you think that they address that position in the draft?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think they can address the tight end position in the draft. Kind of get that game-changing tight end would be really nice. I don't know if, Noah Fant is that guy, but the tight ends should be kind of salivating at this offense, just the way that they can mix the play action and some of these crossing routes and everything's moving. They should be getting lots of reps. And, Hawkinson in Minnesota with Darnold, he was used quite a bit. And a lot of the tight ends were I just think that there'll be Noah Fant. If it's Noah, if he's the number one guy, they don't draft a guy to take us, to take over that number one tight end spot, whatever. That's fine. I've liked what we saw with Barner last year. I think he could really, really improve from his rookie season to his second season. We saw some huge plays by him last year. His athleticism and just his ability to kind of make the big catch. You saw it. I don't remember what game it was. It was the last game of the season. He caught that one in the back of the end zone, kind of off his helmet or whatever, and toward the end of the year. But he started making plays like that, so I expect him to rise up a little bit. But Sam Darnold needs a good tight end, like a really trustworthy, game-changing tight end. So I could see them really going for that in the draft this year.
Obviously, they want to continue to be a better run team. John Schneider talked about it multiple times at the Combine. He also seems really happy with what this draft class has to offer at running back. Do you see fixing the run as just fundamentally fixing the offensive line, or would you add to that room? Like, is there potential there in that running back room or rather, I should say, is that running back room missing a piece that you'd like to add?
Yeah, and again, it's so tough to judge these running backs based on last season,
right.
Because they weren't given the opportunities. They weren't given the opportunities. K9 was hurt a little bit, which to me is a big kind of question mark. Can K9 stay healthy? Can he finish a whole season? Can he play 15 games? You expect a running back to be out 1 or 2 games. I mean, that's going to happen. They take a beating, but can he play, more games than that? I thought Charbonnet really rose up last year when he was given the opportunities. I think he really showed he had a knowledge for the scheme that they were doing, and sometimes you saw him rush better than what K9 did. Again, it's going to come down to if there's that electric running back available that John Schneider really likes. Don't be surprised if they draft him high. If they draft a running back, I would be shocked. I mean, I don't know what that does with Kenny McIntosh, Bump, your boy,
my guy.
But if they draft a running back not first round, probably not. I mean, if they draft a running back in the first round, unless like Ashton Genty is available, which he will not be, then I will be blown away and kind of just take all my research and draft and stuff and throw it out the window for the Seahawks. But if they draft a running back in the second or third round, like we've seen them do quite a bit, then I don't. I mean, that adds another weapon, and you kind of worry for what do they think of K9? Is K9 the future of this team? Is Charbonnet taking that? Or they expect this guy from the draft? So the system, it all goes back to the Kubiak system. It's so different. It's just so different than what we saw from Grubb. So this offseason into OTAs, into training camp, we're just going to see a lot more of how this is all playing out with the offensive line. How much better does this offensive line look under this? Maybe I'm not going to say they're going to be better coached, or I mean, lack of a better term, I guess. Yes, they're going to be better coached, but it's also going to be they're going to be coached for them to succeed more, as opposed to just be kind of putting on islands and expected to win every single down on a one-on-one matchups.
He is Seahawks Radio Network analyst Bryan Walters, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Busy weekend, busy Monday for the Seahawks. Bryan, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, B.
Hey, of course. See you guys.
Have a good one. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, who's had a great offseason so far? A lot of moves.
Lots of moves. You mentioned a bunch of them, right? You got the Bills and Josh Allen getting the deal done. You got Myles Garrett finally getting it done. Justin Fields to the Jets, but I'm going to Chicago. And, man, what was that one more signing that they had? So they got Jonah Jackson and Joe Tooney, right?
What's his name? Curtis.
Drew Dahlman.
Drew Dahlman.
There we go, right? Give him that offensive line right, and you need to. Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times. That's the most in the NFL. He had 110 bad throws, most in the NFL. Blitz about 175 times, second most in the NFL. He had 160 pressures, second most in the NFL. We know this young man is talented, but you got to keep him upright. They have also the Chicago Bears have 4 selections in the first 75 picks. They have gone to work in free agency. They have to go to work when it comes to the draft now. But I like what they're doing. Are you going to re-sign Keenan Allen? We'll see there. DJ Moore, you got Roman Dunze as well. It's been a good offseason for the Chicago Bears. We haven't seen a quarterback throw for over 4,000 yards in that organization. It happens next year, Stacy. I'm going to go out there and say that Caleb Williams, about 4,225 touchdowns.
To throw in, not as a 4 down, but just some news that broke while we were talking to Bryan. It's not about the Seahawks, but it is about an offensive line. The Washington Commanders acquired Laramie Tunsil from the Texans for a bunch of draft picks. Commanders also looking to build up that line around Jaden Daniels. So both Caleb and Jaden getting a ton of help up front this offseason. Going to be a fascinating sophomore year for those two.
Protect your quarterback.
Yep. Second down. Devontae Adams signs with the Rams. Why do you think he's going to play well in L.A.?
Man, his game is like fine wine. It's aging beautifully. I know you can look at his time with the Jets and you can be disappointed, but His game has never been based off of speed. It's off of deception. It's about his release, his body language. He's great at it. And they're going to run the ball with the Rams, right? They had the second most play action attempts in 2024. And I see Devontae working across the field, allowing Puka to stretch the field. He goes across the middle, and he just goes to work. There are some guys whose game is timeless. Like, you go to basketball, you look at the Joker. He'll be able to play like that until he's 40 years old if he wants to, like LeBron. I'm looking at Devontae Adams. That's the type of route runner he is. It's more about tempo, patience, and deception. So now you're going to have, like I mentioned, the Rams who are second in the NFL when it comes to play action attempts. That gives him time to work at the line of scrimmage, to create that space. I hate that he's coming to the NFC West, but I'm putting on my scouting cap, and I see him going over there to the Rams and having himself another 1,000-yard season.
Third down. Text lines have been asking your opinion on quarterback Joe Milton. Would he be a good fit in Seattle as maybe a backup, a young guy to develop?
Yeah, right. Things have changed since the first time we did this four-down territory.
Well, people still want a younger guy, though, and see Sam as a bridge.
Yeah, you're looking at Sam Darnold, and also obviously you have Sam Howell here as well. So I went back and I looked at the one game that Milton played. 22 of 29, 241 yards and 1 touchdown. What people love about this young man is him being able just to buy him some time. He is 6'5", 230, 40 pounds, somewhere up there. And I think he would be a good project. I look at him the same way I look at Jalen Moreau coming out of the draft this year. These are guys who need to sit and to learn the game. And if you are in a Kubiak offense where you do use play action and you get outside the pocket, I can see a guy like Milton having some good years. But it's all about Sam Darnold right now. But I did go back. I watched the film. A lot of people were asking about Joe Milton. I like what I saw. He's still young at times. Wouldn't mind if he was a backup.
I'm going to throw in, before we get to fourth down, related to wide receiver fits and the conversation we just had with Bryan, a couple wide receiver questions from the text line. First, a surprising number of texters seem to think, like, plug in Jake Bobo, plug in Derek Young, like wide receiver isn't as much a need. Do you see it as a top need?
Top need, no. It's all about the offensive line.
Right.
But I think
priority.
Yeah. Listen, Jake Bobo can make some plays. We've seen him make plays. Derek Young is the one that I scratch my head about because he just hasn't been able to get on the football field. What is Jake Bobo doing that Derek Young isn't doing? But he is making tackles out there on special teams. No, look, these guys are going to go in and compete, but you need to get a young talent over there. You need to get a guy who runs a 4-3 that can help JSN get underneath the coverage and all that good stuff. Receivers work off each other, right? It's a working relationship. I used to hold the safeties so the dig underneath can come open. I used to have guys hold the corners on a smash route so I can get over the top and go one-on-one with the safety. So, no, I think they will have a chance to compete, but I wouldn't expect Jake Bobo to be the number 2 receiver or even Derek Young. Maybe the 3, but you got to bring somebody in young, fast, who can stretch the field out.
When you don't have a lot rostered, it's not even about like, oh, they don't have the best ones. Like in terms of receivers rostered, I think they're going to need a few more. And the next most popular one is just asking about Cooper Kupp as a fit, as a free agent.
Cooper Kupp. Someone texted in, Cooper Kupp is trash. He can't get open anymore. I want to see the game that you're watching. I think Cooper Kupp still has some gas left in the tank. It's not going to look like it did when he went for 1,900. No. And you don't need him to be that if he were to come here. The question is, how much is he willing to take when it comes to pay? He wanted about $20 million. I think he had $20 million left on the books with LA. They didn't want to do that. So if he can come over here for the low, 12, 11, I'm all for it, man, because he's a route runner. He knows how to get open.
Fourth down. We talked with ESPN NFL insider Dan Graziano earlier in the show. What stuck out from that in conversation?
Something you said. What'd you say about Geno?
Oh, that he said he thinks his understanding was that Geno might have wanted a change just as much as the Seahawks. That, like, this was not Seahawks decided to trade Geno because they couldn't reach a number. This was, and Geno might have wanted out too.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like that. And maybe they went into these negotiations thinking, all right, let's work something out. But then you start talking and you start comparing notes and you're talking to your partner and you're saying, all right, maybe this ain't it. Maybe this isn't it. And I'm not even mad, but maybe you should go somewhere else and get another opportunity and get the money that you think you deserve. 40 to 45 million is what it sounds like Geno is looking to get. It doesn't have to be all bad. But you Geno haters, you got it. right? He's gone now. So now you have to deal with Sam Darnold, and I think that there's obviously some things that he needs to work on. Can he repeat what he did last year? But I think that it's when you hear about players requesting a trade, I think people automatically think it's just like hostile and it was aggressive. Might not have been like that. They just probably couldn't get to the right number, the same number, and they let Geno go. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, definitely the number. And then I think I would imagine Pete might see Geno as, given his age, you're still fundamentally a bridge guy, but as someone who can lead them during a certain window. Whereas I think the understanding here, and it was never spoken aloud by John Schneider, but I think the understanding was like, we got to get a guy eventually. It doesn't look like it's Sam Howell, so you got to draft a guy. And like maybe for Geno, he thought, I don't like that. Like I don't want to be at a place where I'm not the answer that year and where people are going to call for this rookie to start. I am curious to see if the Seahawks do pretty impressively improve their offensive line. I would have liked to see Geno play behind an improved Seahawks offensive line.
And in the scheme, too. It takes it will take so much pressure off of Geno.
Yes.
So that's disappointing, but I hope he gets exactly what he wants from the Raiders.
What's on tonight?
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Catch the Mariners Cactus League re-air against the Brewers tonight at 7 p.m. on Seattle Sports. Coming up next, what do we think the Seahawks' plan is for the offense? Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft, on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Music that moves your soul. Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Do you want to lose weight fast and keep it off? I'm Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I have a plan that has helped over 4,000 people in the Seattle-Tacoma area lose up to a pound per day. No surgery, no exercise, no box packaged food, and no drugs or injections with potential side effects. We have a team of health coaches that can support you every step of the way. Schedule your free 15-minute, no-pressure phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com and also see our incredible before and after transformations.
Well, and I'm one of those 4,000 people. I'm incredibly proud of my transformation. It started with just a 15-minute phone call where I learned how easy the program was and decided that it was right for me. I encourage you to make that phone call for yourself. It's only 15 minutes, and it can have a lasting impact.
Let our proven system help you lose 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can start our program in person at our Kirkland office or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out.
so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Hey, Bill, got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know coming your way in 15-866-979-3776. After a very busy weekend and a very busy Monday, something tells me we got a lot of questions from listeners. So again, we're going to get to those in 15 minutes, so you got a lot of time. 866-979-3776. Text anytime. I'm going to be combing through. We had Dan Graziano on earlier in the show, and we asked him, hey, what to you is your biggest question about this team? And he said, well, it seems simple, but what the offense is going to look like, they're kind of now building it on the fly, because I don't know that plan A was to move on from DK and Geno. I think they knew it was a possibility, but this is now, hey, you're in it. Now you got to reconstruct your offense. You have little wide receiver depth. You've got an offensive line that needs to be reworked. Maybe you do bring in a young quarterback in the draft. You got a lot to figure out. What do we think their plan is, Bump?
What do I think? I think they will draft a wideout. And I'm looking at number 18 spot. And we understand that the offensive line needs to be fixed. And then I also like what Bryan Walter said when he was talking about the offensive line and saying they're actually not as bad as people think. Remember, I told you I was watching the New Orleans film, and I thought that the Seahawks offensive line was probably comparable to them, and they're like 20th overall according to PFF. So there needs to be some development there. But now I'm looking at the 18th spot, and I'm thinking to myself, do you go and get yourself a weapon on the outside at 18?
Like Golden?
Yeah, like Golden, like Emeka, like Trey Harris. Like, there are some receivers out there that I think can make an impact right away. And we're seeing that more and more. These wideouts are coming into the NFL, and they are ready to go. But I think that if they were to go any position other than offensive lineman, people are going to be concerned. So what do you do before the draft? Maybe you sign yourself a veteran to kind of quiet the noise if you do go that route. But you need weapons on the outside. So now I'm looking at 18, and I'm trying to figure out, if I were them, would I go get another receiver and team up with JSN for the next 3 or 4 years?
I have an abstract answer. I think their plan for the offense is that it doesn't have to carry the team.
Yeah.
Meaning part of the plan for the offense is we are going to really make sure this defense can be elite. And I thought it was interesting, Bryan saying, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a defense-heavy draft. Like if there's still Mike McDonald's fingerprints all over it. And this is a really good class. How many times have we heard people say defensive line is so good? Like you're going to find a defensive tackle or an outside backer or whatever in the, maybe not an outside backer, but you're going to find a defensive tackle in the second round that could have been a late first. In the third round that could have been a second rounder. Like you're going to find so much talent there. Would you be surprised if they went heavy defense?
I would be surprised because of what they've done already. Signed Jay Reed to a 3-year deal. You signed Leo as well. You're trying to restructure Uchenna's deal over there. You still got Boye Mafe. Roy Robinson Harris is now with who did he sign with? The Giants?
Oh, God, I blanked.
The Giants?
Yep.
Heavy defense, I would be surprised because I think they're already deep in most places. But here's the thing about the draft. You're going to probably touch every position out there. Like, that's just what the draft is about. It's how important is a defensive lineman? How important is an offensive lineman? Does Kubiak look at this offensive line group and think, I got something to work with here? And does he look at the way Grubb used them last year and thinks to himself, well, my offense is going to cover up some of the shortcomings of this group? It's this thing just made this draft that much more interesting because you're nothing without weapons. You're nothing without an offensive line. I think the defense is in good shape. They will address some spots, but I wouldn't assume that they go heavy defense.
What's something else that seems, if not clear to you, you kind of have an inkling, like, I really think they want to do this offensively?
Get tight ends involved. Get your tight ends. Noah Fant, he's still on the squad, right? And 27 years of age. I think you just looked up. He's the second oldest.
Oh, my God. So Brian Nemhauser tweeted Noah Fant is now the oldest player on the Seahawks offense at 27. That was shortly before Sam Darnold signing. So Sam is now the oldest, but he's like 4 months older.
Yeah.
So the oldest player on your offense is 27 years old.
Crazy. I'm old.
Wild.
I got you about 12 years, fellas. What was I saying though? No, tight ends involved. I think they need to figure out the type of tight ends they want and how to get Noah Fant the football in space. When he gets the football in space, he's one of the best tight ends with the run after the catch. It's all about the blocking and stuff. And I think A.J. Barner can do that. But no, I think it's getting the tight ends involved. Whenever the tight ends are involved, to me, that's an indicator that everything's working. But the run game is working, the play action is working. Tight ends are the Swiss Army knife of an offense because they do a little bit of everything. Once the tight ends get going, typically your offense is firing.
John Schneider's made it clear. This is the one thing like I'm certain on because he said it a million times. Like, we need to run the ball. We need to run the ball. But I think there's a lot of ways that you can figure out how to do that. A clear one is investing in the offensive line. I'm most curious to see if their desire to run the ball more efficiently on offense leads to a running back being drafted higher than we think.
Maybe, man. I mean, because there's no denying the talent that Ken Walker has. It is there. It's the patience and the vision that I think kind of frustrates people at times with him. But you know, if he gets into the open field, you're not catching him. And then you have Zach Charbonnet as well with Kenny McIntosh. You have a trio back there, but we've seen situations where you carry 4 running backs on the squad before. And this is the deepest running back group we've seen in the last 10 years or something like that. I think that if they do grab a running back, it's probably going to be later, like 5th, 6th round.
I think they take one for sure.
Yeah.
I think both of us are probably set on they're going to take a running back. John Schneider is talking them up so much. But I go back and forth between I'm really bad about working out. I know it's important, but I hate doing it. Like, I've never been someone that's like you feel good afterward, but I've never been like, I got to get to the gym life. Like, it's just, I have to force myself to do it, and I dread it the entire time, and then I feel good after. But I have a bad habit of well, you know what? Maybe if I buy new workout clothes or buy these new Nikes, then I'll incentivize then I'll get to the gym and that'll solve it. And I wonder if that's the run situation that I'm looking at with Seattle, where the running backs are the gym clothes and the shoes, where it's do you need it? Or is the
Right.
bigger
I like
problem
that.
that you need to do the work?
I like
and I'm
that.
torn. I go back and forth. It's like maybe you could use another pair of shoes. Maybe it's okay to incentivize yourself to get to the gym, but ultimately working out is the most important part of doing it, whether it's in new clothes or an old t-shirt. And that offensive line is the primary thing. It's so obvious. It's right in front of you the whole time, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it is. But you know how the draft goes. It's maybe you weren't planning on getting a running back, but in the 5th round, you see one sitting there that you really like and you want to take a go at it. And the thing about running backs, too, they're like the linebackers of the offense. And I say that because linebackers are all over special teams. Like they play linebacker, safeties, kill special teams. Offensively, if you aren't like a punt returner or something like that, you don't see a lot of offensive guys on special teams. You see Bobo and Derek Young. Like you can carry 4 running backs and have one of those guys be a contributor on special teams. Are they going to grab a fullback? Not draft a fullback, but are you going to grab a fullback? You need a fullback in this offense. So maybe that's the running back that they grab, a fullback type.
Oh, that's a really good point. Keep came, and then that's essentially the 4th roster running back. Yeah, I mean, they said definitively, yes, we will get a fullback. You're right. I think that's what you do. And then maybe it's a competition between a drafted guy and Kenny McIntosh.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. And then a clear one that I wrote is get younger. Simply by virtue
On
of the
offense? We're already young on offense.
Yeah, simply by virtue of the players you're drafting having been born where they are. Is anyone watching Severance? There's this new character who's a child, and in the first episode, he asks, "Why are you a child?" And she says, "Because of when I was born." So that's kind of how I feel about the Seahawks getting younger. But I do wonder if that was an incentive with Geno. Like when a team thinks we need this guy, they'll pay whatever.
Yeah.
They'll pay whatever. I think Geno's age was a factor, ultimately.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was a factor. And relationships are why he is in Vegas.
I'm very curious about
Me
the
too.
Raiders.
I want to see him ball, man. Go do your thing, Geno.
I really do. It doesn't affect Seattle in any way whatsoever. All right, get your questions into What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Coming your way next.
Breaking news.
The Seahawks have their quarterback. ESPN's Adam Schefter says former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $100.5 million contract with Seattle. Bump, your immediate reaction.
Let's get it. Got our quarterback, man. You know, a quarterback who fits this offense and what we think this offense is going to be. This was priority number 1, was to get Sam Darnold.
Stay with Seattle Sports for updates and analysis. Read more at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports app.
Stacy Rost here. If you're like me, you've been putting off getting a new car for years. Maybe you don't want to take time to shop, or you just don't feel comfortable with more spending. I never do. And I get it. But I finally had some repairs for my car, and it just felt like too much for what it was worth. So I pulled the trigger on a new vehicle, and I knew just where to go. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I went over the selection of new cars at wayscarford.com. A ton of Ford models, Broncos, Escapes, but also models from Kia, Chevrolet, Toyota, a few more, all at amazing prices. But the shopping experience in person was also amazing. You guys know how much trust matters when you're shopping for a new car. So I knew I could depend on Wayscar Ford. They're a company that's been in business for over 100 years in Auburn. I ended up with a 2024 Bronco Sport. I'm obsessed. Like in hindsight, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and 4-wheel drive in the winter has been a game changer. So head to wayscarford.com to check out the selection for yourself. I know you'll enjoy the process as much as I did. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn, wayscarford.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
I started Davis Law Group in 1994 to fight for the underdog. And as our team has grown, we've stayed true to that mission. Today, Davis Law Group is known for providing excellent service and even better results. Visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com to get your free book on car accident law.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-990-1551. That's 800-990-1551.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS, Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Adults ages 18 to 65 and older are invited to try out for the PSSBL this Sunday, March 16th at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jacks text line 866-979-3776. What I need to know, if Pete hadn't gotten the job for the Raiders, a quarterback-needy team, do you think Geno would still be here and would have signed an extension?
Oh, man. No, it sounds like they just couldn't come together with a number. So I think that the Hawks didn't want to budge. And because they didn't want to budge, the first thing they do is holler at Pete and say, "You want your guy?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a Pete guy, remember?
Yeah.
So, no, I think it came down to that.
Yeah, I think whether or not Pete was hired by the Raiders, they were going to be in the exact same quarterback situation. The only difference being Pete has a ton of confidence in Geno, but they would have been looking at we need to add a veteran. We have no one.
Right.
We need a good veteran, and then we can maybe let a guy that we draft develop behind him. But at number, what do they have, 6?
Who?
Raiders?
Raiders, yeah, 6.
9? Yeah, at 6, it's I don't know that a quarterback's the best available there. So I think they were going to be in this situation no matter what, and them, the Giants, the Steelers, whoever else would have been looking to acquire a quarterback somehow. What I need to know, who are the leaders on the team with Lockett, DK, and Geno gone?
I mean, Sam Darnold being the quarterback, you almost have to be a leader over there. But I think you got to lean on the defense, right? We expect them to lead the charge this year anyway. So I think it's Leo, it's Jay Reed, it is Ernest. I think the defensive side kind of steps up and handles that. And offensively, it has to start with your quarterback. He has to be a leader.
What I need to know, bowling party this weekend. One of the coaches told me if I couldn't break 100, I needed my man card suspended. I rolled a 96. He, Mr. Athletic, rolled 185 and he never bowls. Should an adult man be able to roll triple digits at least?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Get into the triple digits, sir.
Have you guys ever rolled under triple digits?
I'm sure I have, but I erased those things from my memory.
Okay. So the answer is just definitively yes.
Yeah.
Isaac, you need to get to, it's Isaac and Everett. You got to get to
Get to a buck
whatever
20.
the
practice.
closest
Yeah,
bowling
after
alley
work.
is. Yeah.
Well, he said he's in Linwood. Bolero, and Linwood is now lucky striking at sick. That's what he says. Sick
bowling.
I'm moving on.
I got nearly a 200 once and thought I should be on the PBA. I was like, man, who do you think you are? I am. Yeah.
I think last time I got like a 67. You know what I did? I got a strike on the first one, and I got way too confident. Like I came away being like, maybe I'm secretly really good at this.
You
and
probably
I didn't get a
bowl
single one for the rest of the
like
game.
a 5-pound ball too, something really light.
8. Excuse you.
Whoa.
Excuse you. I tried a 10 one time, but then it was catching my nails, and I was afraid. I'm done with this topic. We're moving on. What I need to know: will the Raiders win more games than the Seahawks this year?
Interesting. Nah, that division, man. That division is tough. The Broncos ain't going nowhere. The Chargers ain't going nowhere. Chargers need to get a receiver. I was surprised that DK didn't go to the Chargers. I thought that's where he's going to go. And then, the Chiefs. I don't think so, man, even though the NFC West is not going to be weak either.
There's a lot of excitement or news around the Raiders and some big names attached. Obviously, you also have Brock Bowers, who's coming off an all-pro season, but this team has some depth questions that they need to figure out that because it's just not interesting or relevant to us, we're not looking at, but they got to figure some stuff out before they win double digits. What I need to know. What is the first public fight on the Steelers this year? Rodgers and DK, Rodgers and Pickens, or DK and Pickens?
DK and Pickens squaring up with somebody from the Bengals.
A team up.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. That's how you build a brotherly bond.
Yep.
You go over there and you punch a dude in the face for pushing your fellow wide receiver.
Yep.
What I need to know, will Myles Garrett go back to all those shows where he explicitly said it's not about the money, and how will he spin it?
Well, just because he got paid doesn't mean it was all about the money. Money just entices you to do some things. I think negotiations can get emotional, and maybe he finally sat down and said, look, this is my spot. These are my people. Let's get her done. But yeah, he'll spin it. He'll make it sound great.
Yeah. What I need to know, this has certainly been a weird week for Seattle sports, but I find myself somewhat excited. Am I alone?
No, I think it is exciting because you just don't know what the future holds. And it's almost like you're getting a fresh start with Sam Darnold over here and a new offensive coordinator. It's a new regime. And for the last, 10 to 12 years, we're used to seeing Russell, and then Geno holds it down for a little bit. But no, it is exciting because you just don't know what's going to happen. I think the defense will lead the charge.
I agree. I think the draft is infinitely more interesting to
Yeah.
me. It has been a minute since I have entered a draft for the Seahawks, wondering, do they take a quarterback early? Will they trade up? What's going to happen? In fact, I don't think I've ever covered a Seahawks draft where I've wondered that.
No.
I may be wondering if they'd take Anthony Richardson at 4. And we asked Pete Carroll, did you guys consider it?
What did he say? You remember what he said?
I don't remember what he said. I think he was like, good question, but not answering that one. What I need to know. Hey guys, flying all day today. What do you prefer, aisle seat or window? I just landed in Dallas when I found out Sam's our guy.
I like window so I can lean and go to sleep.
I hate an aisle seat. I understand, what? Ian doesn't agree?
Legroom.
Yeah.
I have legroom
I'm all
everywhere
about
I
the
go.
legroom.
I don't know. I'm so
All
sorry
about
to
the
you guys.
aisle seat.
I could climb into a thimble and have legroom.
Yeah, I'm 5'7". I still need to stretch out.
The answer is window in an emergency exit row.
The answer
But you got to
is-
be ready to be a hero in today's climate.
Answer is first class. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Seats are comfy, wide leg room. You're good.
I mean, we can all agree the middle seat is the
It's the worst.
Do you remember when I told you that story about Katie and they got seats in like business class, window and middle,
yeah.
and someone tried switching with them from a middle seat in the very back?
Tripping.
And they were like, what?
They're trying to
No.
guilt you because someone was pregnant or something like that?
Yeah, she was like rubbing her belly,
Yeah.
and Katie was like, first of all, you're not showing.
No.
You could be gassy. Like, this could be a lie.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't think she should feel bad for that. What I need to know, where do you think Russ ends up?
Man, what's left? The Jets are locked up. Raiders locked up.
Giants.
Yeah, it could be the
Vikings.
Giants. That's all bad.
Giants?
It has to. I think it's the Giants or the Vikings. But they're gonna let JJ McCarthy do his thing over there. Russ, man, he might not have a job. He might not have a job.
Oh, Bump, you're not going to like this hot take. Hot take, first class should board last. Least time on the plane, no stairs as commoners walk past you judging.
That is the weird part about first class is sitting there and people just staring at you. It is weird. I'm not mad at that take,
I do
honestly.
it on accident. I'm thinking about it now. When I walk on a plane, I literally stare at everyone as I walk.
They should board back to front.
Yeah, you
that
should.
way you're not, putting your luggage over people. You're not walking over people. It would just streamline things more. But there's a status to being in the first boarding.
What if this isn't a bad take?
No, it's a good take.
I think it's a good.
It's a good take.
I think I've done a 180.
Just don't put your luggage in first class. So stop doing that, people. If you're not sitting in first class, don't put your luggage up there.
Your peasant luggage.
Don't do that.
Bump looks in there. Is this a Jan sport? What I need to know. Why do we only get a third-round pick for Geno? I know they're picking up his salary, but it seems like we could have gotten a bit more.
He's 34. Because he's 34. That's why.
Well, and I wonder if Geno, much like DK, was like, I wouldn't sign a contract extension there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if there were certain teams that would have offered more, and he was like, I have no idea. It's a good question. I also thought a third was a little low, but the contract, his age, makes sense.
All right to me.
Yeah. Either way, you have 2 new day 2 picks coming out of this weekend. A lot of questions to answer, but we're going to have fun looking at all of them this week. This has been Bump and Stacy. If you missed any part of the show, make sure you check out the Bump and Stacy podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, or SeattleSports.com. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft, on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And
you're shocked.
I am. I just thought that this was a given.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-848-4499. 800-848-4499. Again, that's 800-848-4499.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
This week's First Mark Challenge victory, well, it goes to Mike. Hey, Mike, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
My wife and I moved here from New York City and found this great guy. It got pricey, but because he was good to us over the years, we stayed loyal to him. But then one day I got an increase that was quite unacceptable. So I made one phone call. I didn't do any shopping. My wife told me to call First Mark.
Mike, were they able to save you and your family money?
Oh, yes. It was over $100 a month.
What would you tell others they can expect when they call First Mark?
The most competitive pricing that you can find. And they had terrific customer service. Even if you're on the phone with them, you can tell they have a smile on their face, so you can tell they love what they're doing.
Do you wish you would have made that call earlier?
I was just kicking myself as you were speaking because I didn't do it sooner.
Well, you just heard. Mike did it. My family did it. You got to do it too. It's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. That's firstmarkinsurance.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Down, set, Pizza Hut, Make the play of the game with Pizza Hut. Buy any large Pizza Hut pizza and get another one free. Use code HUT at checkout. That's code HUT for a buy one, get one free exclusive offer to 710